All right. Welcome everyone to a very special episode. Not really a really special, but like this is the first time I'm doing something like this. This is my first ever podcast slash talk show slash whatever, and I'm here with my co-host Samantha Foxy, aka the Fox, as you can see on the picture right there. Go ahead, Sam. Say
I
hello.
looks really cute. I looks really cute. Hello everyone, it's my first time also here. I'm so happy and thank you NetGuy also to be here inviting me for with your channel and I'm so excited. So excited about that. It's so weird being here for the first time. I also been watching Twitch and this is the first time I actually take part of it.
Oh, well, I'm glad to have you here. I know we've been talking about doing this for we've been talking about this for doing this for a while now because there's been stuff that's been happening in the gaming industry that's gonna get us very over opinionated. So, yeah, please bear with us and all that stuff and whatnot.
Yes, yeah, we did. We also had a lot of conversation in private.
Oh yeah, there's been a lot of hearsay there saying what that. In any case, before we get to our topics, today's episode, as you can see from the little image on the bottom of there, it is brought to you by W Energy Drinks. Yes, W Energy. The focus and alertness drink with zero sugars, no artificial colors and dyes. Yes, it has 150 milligrams of caffeine and 100 milligrams of Konnichiku. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's like the whole coffee fruit extract and all that stuff to keep you awake and, of course, to keep you fit and unashamed of trying out Dubby. And my favorite flavors of Dubby so far, I personally like the Push and Punch and the one that's called Beach and Peach. Those are my favorite flavors so far. And if you use my code REVOLUTION with the zeros in place of the O's, you get 10% off your purchase. And now I'm done.
If I may, it looks so delicious and also really energetic at the same time. I like it.
Oh, really? I
Mm-hmm.
just got me a can here. They also sell the canned stuff. I got the mango orange cream on me right now. And
Oh, really? The mango. I love mango.
oh yeah, it's good stuff. I definitely recommend it. And if you want a drink to keep you awake while not giving you a shame of trying it, because it is 0 calories, of course, no sugars as well, 0 sugars. Try Dubby, give it a try, and get 10% off if you purchase it using my code.
Absolutely.
All
So
right.
we're helping yourself and also your favorite streamer.
Yes. All right. So let's see. Where do you want to start with first, Fox?
Well, as you say, we're going to presenting also saying, and I am a very, very open-minded gamer. I like a lot of genders in the game, and I also been really interested in the gaming industry, but more likely on uh, more like everyone of us. So watching it, the perception of the gamer on first, and having a clear image, and also try to finding the hidden lore within a game, or these elements that are so fascinating for me to try to find everything that is for try to find the story and is told within those games. But it's not only that, I also love horror games,
Oh, well, that's pretty
which
good. I mean,
you also played one of my favorite that I saw even. starting when it was an alpha, Phasmophobia.
Oh yeah, I enjoy playing Phasmophobia sometimes. I mean, not all the time. I mean, I do have a group to play with, but they play with it way too much to the point where I almost get sick of it. So, but it's a good game to play if you
Mm-hmm.
want, especially with the group. I don't see myself playing it alone. I mean, there is a single player version, but I get jump scared too easily, so I can't really play it alone. Not really my
It's
type
also
of
a
thing.
little bit boring doing it alone. And I say it because I played a lot of time actually alone. But the more you play alone, even as much as challenging it might be, but it starts to getting easily boring at some point. So it's even better when you do it company. Do it in company. It's much better.
Oh yeah,
I
it
can,
totally is.
I can tell.
Yeah, I don't really see myself, lugging all of that luggage and all that stuff, the tools that you need to summon the ghost and whatnot. It's not for me to play alone, and I easily lose stuff too, so that's also another factor of why I don't play alone. I'd rather play it with another person, usually a
Mm-hmm.
group of two or three. It doesn't matter to me as long as we get it done, or if I
Well,
just can't trust.
even two start to getting a little bit interesting, but the best it would be three. Considering there is also, the mechanic of the orbs and the new how it's called when actually you see the the image of the ghost only through the, the small green dots.
The dots projector.
Yeah, yeah, the dot. I even said the name. Yes, with the dot. It's quite cool if actually you might have also one of the players, as much as it might be a little bit boring, being in the cargo for watching the camera.
Oh yeah. Sometimes if you stay in the truck, you sometimes see the image of the ghost and all that stuff. And even through the solo camera, where you carry it inside the house and all that, you can capture it,
Mm-hmm.
and you can also take a picture of it, and it gives you a lot of extra points and, of course, some money to spend on better equipment.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. And in all of that, we also have to consider another things. And it's been one of my favorite argument of interest since pretty much years already, which has been the entire world and is in the indie games. Is a whole new world if you actually because I started with console with the Nintendo, the first Nintendo. So I've been pretty much within the games on big companies on Nintendo, then the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. Then I've been pretty much doing a lot of games still for brands also with computer. But then I've been like even discovering thanks to Twitch a lot of great games been indies like example one of the big example of one of the uh, indie games that I loved is been Omori. You ever seen it?
I don't think I've seen Amore yet. No. Want to talk about that? Can you describe it?
It's it's pretty much a game that has been done very creatively with RPG Maker, and it's a psychological horror game. I don't want to go too much into the lore, but it's pretty much like at the start it looks like a very funny, cute fantasy world where a little guy finding inside. But the most you go along with and you go make forward through it, you start to feeling like a couple of weird things happening until you actually see true horrors coming in, and those horrors start to also visualize the real world when actually you are awakened.
That actually reminds me of another game that I've played. Also, not in, it's a program that they use kind of like RPG Maker. Uh, it is called, I believe, Yumeniki. Somewhat similar
I know
premise.
Yumaniki.
Yeah, Yumeniki is somewhat
Mm-hmm.
similar premise, but instead of like being awoken in like a mysterious world and all that stuff, you pretty much dream. You go to sleep and then you dream it, and then
Mm-hmm.
it's like you're going through like different phases of your dream, kind of like a dream diary in a way, or LSD Dream Diary that was out for the PlayStation in the
Mm-hmm.
'90s, where you travel through weird ass worlds every time you go to sleep. But it's a lot different. Obviously, it uses RPG Maker or a program similar to RPG Maker. I don't remember if it's a different one, but it was pretty trippy the first time I played
Mm-hmm.
it, and I didn't even realize that it's like one of those games where there's not much enemies per se, but there is one that does have a tendency to chase you around, and it makes you wake up and all that stuff. So
It's incredible. It's really so interesting, don't you think?
yeah, it's very interesting stuff. It's like you don't really see stuff like this much. I mean, yeah, in the indie scene, yes, but like in the major companies that make these games and all that stuff, you don't really see much creativity like that anymore.
No,
At least
there
not
are
like
most
in
of.
the current era, no. But like
Yeah, no, in fact.
yeah, and then there's like the 2000s and earlier. Yeah, there has been some experimenting going on, which I have noticed. There's the supreme difference between today and back then. And what about you?
Yeah, absolutely. But this is pretty much, yeah, a little bit of a problem with the entire not being like too keen to try or making experiments nowadays because there are a lot of money in pretty much, and the big scare to failing and pretty much be like all this money spent for nothing is quite a bit of a nightmare for these companies, being like discouraging them for investing and experimenting something that actually can be creatively new.
Well, yeah, and that kind of goes with the that goes with the case of what we even talked about in another server. There was a topic about X Defiant. You remember the
Mm-hmm.
topic X Defiant? Uh,
Yeah.
in their case, is like Ubisoft because Ubisoft made this game, obviously. So don't really need to say much about them, but honestly, they were expecting that the game would make Fortnite numbers, and that's really the biggest issue is that they were expecting to make Fortnite numbers overnight, but that's not going to be the case, especially when you were just out like a couple of days ago. You don't expect to make Fortnite numbers over and over overnight.
Yeah, in fact, but we also have to consider another thing that is coming into the game. We don't have nowadays. I mean, if we are going to speaking about X Defiance would have been released like in 2010, maybe that might have been like a good chance could it be success. But let's face it, nowadays we have even a lot of video games that are very much similar to that. We have Counter Strike, we have Call of Duty, we have and QNA seems you have to hydrate. So you have
Yeah,
to hydrate, my
Valorant.
dear.
Yeah,
Yeah. Valorant is another one.
and then there's Rainbow Six Siege
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff. It's
So
like, oh, mm-mm.
yeah, we are. Oh, here's the thing: we are legitimately overwhelmed with some type of games, which makes completely hard, if not even impossible, to actually make those new games. In this case, Defiance, to having even a little bit of a chance or spot for try to flourishing in some capacity.
And that's pretty much where the problem lies. You have all these games with everyone that has their dedicated base. It's going to take
Mm-hmm.
a lot to pull away from their bases. Heck, Overwatch 2, for example, it had a really shitty launch. For example, a lot of people were angry at the changes that were happening and even the removal of this of the co-op mode that they were supposed to bring, but didn't. Eventually, people got back to it and still kept playing it. It's like it's a really dedicated player base. Overwatch
Yeah,
2.
in fact.
Oh yeah, I don't see people like giving it up for the new flavor of the month or the week that's going to be debuting and all that stuff. It's like it's impossible in a way.
Yeah, or at the very least, if you actually could make it, you have to make it in a very in a type of way where you actually can make this game be interesting or even attracting to the fan base. Even I mean, now there is the new Marvel game when it actually is a shooting game,
Yeah, Marvel Rivals.
Marvel Rivals, yes, which it seems like that actually is working much better on the fan base if compared with Defiance. But we have to also consider that it's just the starting of it. Don't know if actually on the long run how actually we do.
On the
Which
long
will
run,
of course, well, I mean, we'll of course hope this will go well because nobody actually want or having fun when a company like fail on making video games and such. But it's part of the risk. You count on it, but if go well is pretty much fine. It's kind of victory for all.
and that's where having too many expectations can be a bit of a drawback for a lot of companies, pretty much.
Well, I mean, but here's the thing. This is a question I want to ask you, but everyone.
Yeah, go ahead.
How do you think is a problem of the crowd or the fan base being too much hyped about the video game, and when actually is responsibility of a company and pretty much is completely disconnected with their fan base to not being able to even see if a type of game they create actually is something that the fan base want and how the fan base want it.
That's a hard question to ask because it's almost hard to determine what the fan base wants because they are a fickle bunch. Depending really. Not everyone likes the same thing, so it's like they have a hard time figuring it out. All right, what do we need to bring to this game to make it appealing to everyone else, and then make it appealing to our player base, our main player base. It's impossible to figure that out sometimes. Yeah, you can look at the charts at other games and all that stuff, but at the same time, it's like, do you even want to come off as a clone of this or that? Or do you want to stay unique and try to draw in at least a hefty enough player base to have people keep playing your product?
Well, that's true, but at the same time, is I mean, is evident for me, and is evident for you, and we are not game developers. We don't work for those big companies. We just watch and can pretty much see the evidence, fact that the general market of the gaming industry is overwhelmed with those type of games and those and titles like that. So you as a big company, I cannot actually not like understand, but I cannot believe they actually are like caught by surprise for not expecting then. they're going like in a suicide mission, pointing on a video game in and putting it into a market, and it already overwhelmed other games like that, if not even better and more established than.
And yeah, and pretty much that's where everything, the problem and a solution would lie too. So if you were like a developer, how would we do stuff as a developer in comparison to the triple A's and the indies? What would you do different, Fox? If you had to make
On the
something like
first,
yeah, if you have
on
to
the
make something that can compete with like Fortnite's the Apexes and all that stuff, what would you do? Pretty much.
on the first, there is a big study of the entire general situation for on the gaming industry now, because if you don't do a big and deep study about the current situation, the historical moment we're living, you pretty much can do whatever you want and pretty much never match even your own fan base and community needs for a video game, even if actually they are big fan of your company. So the first thing is study the current market situation for the gaming industry. And the second, it would be checking with your core fan base actually what they actually like to see in a video game than actually create. Having a more direct dialogue with your own community, with your own fan.
That's a pretty good way to put it too. And when you think about it, not a lot like to do that or want to do that, and that's where the issues come in, where they have the player base versus the developers and all that stuff. And it's like, what are you guys trying to do here? It's like, then you look at both groups, and it just makes you go, what the fuck? And then you've probably seen all the arguments you've seen in, at least on X/Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
where everyone's like, "Oh my god, you guys aren't doing your job," or the developers are like, "Oh my god, just shut up and like our games," and it's all that stuff, and it gets crazy. Like, where does it end? You know?
Well, I also saw in a couple of cases, for example, and even gaming developers then took away the, the the key they gave to content creators because they've been a little bit too harsh with judging their own games. And it's a little bit like why you actually you should actually be thankful to actually if they tell you where actually you can improve your own game, correcting the errors or something that actually you see. But instead you just take back the key because, oh, you've been too harsh with us, we don't want, you're not going to play our game anymore, and such like that. Or even, for example, when you have a big company saying then the fact that their game actually failed on the launch or they had to close the study, it's because is a fault of the gamers. How actually the gamer would be responsible for someone closing, and not maybe because you made, I'm not going to say like you made a terrible job, but you probably have to consider that something didn't went right because you know you probably missed a couple of things. You maybe have taken choices not for your own fan base, for the longevity of your own game. Those are all things to keep in account. When instead to be like, yeah, we took we took a bad direction of we took a bad marketing choice. No, it's the fault of someone else. And this is not helpful to anyone. When actually they should accepting their own responsibility if actually they make some mistake or some bad choices and moving on and try to improving for whatever project might be after.
And you brought up a point about marketing because I remember, bad marketing. Yeah, sometimes bad marketing can hurt and break a game and all that stuff. Because I do remember, I don't know if you remember this, Sam, but there is a one game that starred, I believe it was The Rock. Was it? I think it was The Rock. I don't remember. I know there was a game. There was a new game that he used his entire likeness and all that stuff, that the company that they used, and it was barely advertised like everywhere. Like we don't even know where it was or where it came from or who made it and all that stuff. Like how are we supposed to know this game even exists without all the marketing?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even remember it was even out that month either. And then people wonder why it failed. Well, there's one reason, obviously. Anything to add to that?
Well, it might be a multiple cause for that, but it's also because of not enough coverage on the biggest streaming platforms or social media and all the other things. Because at the end of the day, if you make a bad marketing and development in on social media and such, your pretty much your work will remain completely anonymous. But this is something that going on with everything nowadays. It's the reality that we're living on.
Yeah, including the whole consolidation of the industry with every company trying to buy out this or that or the third and all that stuff. I think the recent one being Sony wanting to buy out Kadokawa Corporation that owns Spike Chunsoft and From Software, who makes Elden Ring and all that stuff. Um, how do you feel
You
about that exactly?
you hit like a really open door with me. That
Yeah.
because guys, you of course don't know it, but my partner here knows that I am a really really huge Dark Souls fan since pretty much the first one before the remastered. I saw the From Software growing since it was an in, an indie. Uh, to be honest, the fact that actually Sony want to buy the Karakawa studio, it makes me tremble, and I honestly like because it's kind of like one of those things you see a company that you loved since pretty much its birth. You see it growing so much and even earning, as we all of course remember with Elden Ring, getting the Game Award of the year. But the fact that actually, and for the reasons that there are behind, I am not much a fan of it or anything happy about that, because I might a little bit worried about the consequences, mostly political, that might take this decision to see Sony under taking the Kagawa, possibly also From Software and all the other video games.
Yeah. I mean, that's one company that I kind of, because they also own a lot of anime studios, And you already know Sony has control of Crunchyroll and Funimation. They both own both, so now they're gonna own more anime stuff, and it got me kind of worried about it because they're gonna take complete control of the
Hi,
anime
Foxy
industry
Beth.
in America. Oh, hey, Foxy Beth Ann. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our podcast. Yeah, so it got me worried too about them trying to acquire Kadokawa because now they're gonna have complete control of the anime industry, and it's like, holy crap! But of course, that lays the problem with Japan laws. They tend to be a bit more lenient towards their own stuff, so they don't really care what happens if any of their companies go constellation with each other. But as far as the anime industry is concerned, I feel like it's gonna be in a complete and utter standstill with Sony having in control of everything. It's not just video games; it's also the anime industry that's gonna be, well, in danger as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you also kind of like reminded me also something, but and this indulge me a little bit on that because it's kind of like me doing some wild thoughts, but why I actually have some weird thought that actually might be a little bit of a move. Also considering, of course, part of the reason the GOTY for this year, but it's also because of, as you probably know, and probably also our people here know about the scandal of Concord. Because let's remember that Concord was Sony, and Sony invested a heck of a lot. How many millions were? 2,000
I think
millions?
at least 20, more than 20 million at least. My
20
estimate
million?
at least. Yeah, they invested a lot on that game, and it failed out on them.
Yeah, so why I have like this weird feeling, and actually the two things might be also a little bit connected for try to recovering and making damaging control for what actually for the huge flop then Concord had and kind of like a little bit of a bad image Sony received from the failing of that game.
Oh Jesus, 400 million. That's the budget that they gave them, pretty much.
And
That
that's a lot of money.
that is a lot of money. Yes, 400 million that they can probably make back because again, they own both Crunchyroll and Funimation. People still subscribe to that. They make other stuff than video games. They got their music division, their pictures division, they got their electronics division. So they got like three different divisions to make up all that money back, pretty much. And of course, make up all that money to buy out other companies in the case of Kadokawa. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like it's gonna be a big. Okay, it is a big loss for some. For them, not so much. Is what I'm trying to say.
Why? Well, yeah, but think about it. Nobody's talking about the Concord. They're speaking about the entire thing. Oh, Sony brought the Tawa studio. Anyone? Nobody ever talking about the failing on Concord and Sony giving the shit ahead of money for the project. That's
Yeah.
why I think this might be also a little bit of political move for try to deviate the attention to something else, and also for try to making a good impression with investors.
That's probably the move that they're trying to do as well. Yeah, they're trying to disguise their failure into something else, into another opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
which of course might be working if the purchase goes through. We haven't seen anything being confirmed yet. At least on my end, I haven't seen anything that's been confirmed that they already got the company. But hey, who knows?
Don't hate me if I say I don't want this thing to going through.
No, that's fine. I don't think a lot of people would want to see this go through anyways because I like Spike Chunsoft to be by themselves as well. They're the ones that made the Dangan Rampa games. They make Fire Pro Wrestling and other stuff. They own some IPs that are pretty special that I've been playing for a while now, and I personally don't want to see them under any company at all, like ever, unless it's like a third party like Sega. Maybe I'd be somewhat okay with that, but at the same time, if it's as big as like um the corporation that bought out one of Square Enix's companies, I forgot the name. Embracer. Embracer?
Mm.
Yeah, Embracer. If it's as big as Embracer, because Embracer has a lot of companies, but they managed to close them down as well, you know? They closed down a lot of companies lately, so I don't want them to get Kadokawa either.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, I'm not a fan of it, even because I like having mm, mm, a little bit of a big choice and not having a single person or a single organization holding power for everything and is about gaming industry, but it can be said for everything. So I really don't like the idea. And yeah, like you said, also From Software is pretty much already strong on its own without the Sony's back. Consider, hey, they won, like I said before, they won the Game of the Year, and they're not like together with Sony that day. So why actually sh- are actually in need to be with Sony? And also, I'm a little bit scared with the fact that if actually they would buy from and such, imagine if actually they would make the next, if there would be an Elden Ring 2 exclusive for PlayStation and we will never see it for anything else.
Pretty much. It'll probably end up being on the console first, or it'll go the path of Stellar Blade, for example. Stellar Blade is going to be coming out on PC, I believe, the next year.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows if they'll probably be kept exclusive for like a couple of years, and then next couple of years it'll be out on PC because they are embracing the PC architecture. So that wouldn't be too much of an issue at least.
Well,
We'll
at least the
eventually see it on
PC,
PC, but as
at the
far
at the very
as
least,
yeah,
PC can even holding better FPS than the actually console.
you don't tell them that. They might make it to where it's not like optimized, because I
Well,
know
it's their
several.
job. It's their job to do it. If
It
they don't do
is.
it, it's their own fault.
Well, yeah, but it's also because they want people to buy a PlayStation. That's their excuse. They want people to buy their shit.
Have you seen actually how much is the PlayStation 5 Pro?
Oh yeah, I've seen how much it is, and I probably am just not going to end up getting one. I mean,
Which
hell,
actually, it doesn't even have the reader.
the reader. Oh, you're talking about the disc drive?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's
like a
no disk
digital only
drive.
console. Yeah, I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah, I mean, some people want to go digital, and some people don't want like the physicals anymore. So, excuse me. There's also that option to go digital with most of these other consoles too. It's not just PlayStation; it's everyone else that wants to go digital as well. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, and with all the money you have to spend in with the Pro, you don't even want to put it inside the that little plastic standing. Come on now, you you could have actually put it there.
Yeah,
The
instead they
pe-
make it like a separate attachment, right?
yeah, and the fun thing is that actually you make. If you remember when actually there was the showing the PS5 Pro, they all tried games that were with the FPS, but they were all games that actually worked for the PS4. They didn't brought much of PS5 game on unquote. And it'd been like, oh, but the FPS works great with those. Be like, yeah, but they are old titles. They're not the newest.
Yeah, pretty much they were, and that's pretty much the power of backwards compatibility. I mean, backwards compatibility. You already got like a huge library of a past generation console. You'd want to play those games on the new one as well before you start investing on a new games for the new console.
Hmm.
And for people to get rid of backwards compatibility, I just don't think it's a nonsense idea personally. I wouldn't get anything that's, well, other than the Switch. I will let me correct myself because they did change it up between the Wii U and the Switch, and that did piss off a lot of people. But they did
Hmm.
manage to bring a lot of the Wii U games to the Switch. So, I mean, I guess they are somewhat forgiven, but at the same time, it's like, no, I don't want to keep rebuying anything, you know? Let me play my old
Yeah,
games on the new console too.
yeah. But it is something like a cyclical every time it happened. But it, my thought on that has been that this kind of maneuver is been done for most likely in a little bad way. Because here's the thing, if you, for example, already own a PS5 and you get the PS5 Pro, I'll be honest with you, getting the PS5 Pro when you already have the PS5 normal, it's a shit of a buying. If you instead have, no, no, I know, and some people might be offended with that, but it's my opinion. Everyone is entitled to having their own. But
Exactly.
if you instead start are pretty much in the situation that you have a PS3 or a PS4, and you might want the jump, you probably, I might understand that you might want to go with the PS5 Pro, but I would instead go with the normal PS5 anyway, because the moment that the PS5 Pro arrive, in technically the normal PS5 should be dropping the price a little bit, so it might be like a good moment for it. But at the same time, it might be also a bad time because, quite frankly, how much might be from developing at some point the PS5, the PS6.
Well, I haven't heard much, but supposedly it's not gonna take much longer. But I'm just basing this on rumors. Apparently, that they're already working on the six, and it won't be too long till
Yeah,
maybe a couple
it's quite.
generations or less. Heck.
No, I think it's less because considering also how it's not like let's face it, it's not like before when how we had to wait years since the PS1 from the PS2, and the changes between those console with gigantic.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing more with between PS2 and PS3. Even if actually the time between those two consoles for the releases, it wasn't that long like the previous one. But how much of a big, and I'm saying big changes compared to everything, compared how much it changed the PS1 with PS2 and PS2 with PS3, how much of a change has the PS4 with PS5? It's been like is like something in between of generation. In fact, also games with PS5 would have worked with PS4. So it feel like you make even more short the release of the consoles because of some goddamn console where Sony, Microsoft have to win because they're like two bulls and have to hitting their own heads, try to making a contest for who's the better bull into the room. But why actually don't you companies, instead of being like this stupid context, you actually take your own time for delivering consoles that actually make big differences like before?
Yeah, and in a way, it's almost like the way Nintendo was going about it is a little bit pretty smart because back when the Wii was out, obviously it wasn't the most powerful console. Somehow they've managed to sell it a lot, over, like worldwide, and it didn't have that much powerful technology in comparison to the 3 or the 360 or the 4 and the 1 from Xbox, and somehow they've managed to sell a lot, probably because of their IPs. That's another thing. It's both companies' IPs, and that's why they're pretty much trying to buy out every other company, both companies, Microsoft and Sony. They don't have enough of their own IPs, so instead of making their own or creating what they already own, and I'm looking at both of them, they pretty much buy out anyone else making creative IPs and try to make money off of that instead of working on what they already own. Especially with the console technology, because I feel like the way Nintendo was doing it was pretty smart in a way with their blue ocean strategy, that they used like older technology to make it last, and that's what they did with the Switch. And look at how long that pretty much lasted. Their generation lasted a heck of a long time in comparison to the other generations, their other generations. Meanwhile, you have Sony and Microsoft trying to fight for who's the more powerful console. But it wouldn't matter if you don't have the IP to support it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. But here's the thing, and actually in this one, Nintendo actually played smart because you remember, because I also have the Nintendo Wii,
Yep.
and you remember also which consoles were in that period of time, and also the games that were. But you have to admit that the fact that actually Nintendo released this console, and with also the type of interaction you have, then it was already unique considering what was in the market in that period of time. It was so innovative, and it's been immediately something that catches the attention to everyone because of its uniqueness.
It's also like to point out that they are also, they don't even acquire as much as the other two either. Acquire much companies. If they do acquire companies, it's mostly for areas that they don't have a lot of expertise in. Like for example, the studio that they bought out that they renamed Nintendo Pictures, they obviously don't have expertise in making movies. So instead of well, they did partner with I believe Illumination, so there's one thing, and they also have their own studio to make movies based on their own IP. So if any acquisitions that they do, they're just trying to look for ones that'll help them in the long run. Like for example, they don't have one that's good for like voice chat, video game voice chat, for example.
Hmm.
So they would look at something like Discord and see, okay, maybe we should buy them out. Obviously, I hope that doesn't happen. But like they look at other companies that are expertise in voice, they'll look at it and see if it'll be viable to their company, if it fits their mantra, and then see if talk about an acquisition. That's the difference between them and the other two, pretty much, from what I've seen so far.
Hmm.
And anything else to add about that, Foxy? Oh, yeah, I'm asking you too.
Ah, you're asking at me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Look, sorry, could you repeat the question a moment?
Well, anything else to add on that note? Pretty much.
No, I think pretty much has been already covered entirely for that.
All right. Well, I just came up with a. I just saw an interesting list of. Before I get to that list, though, we should talk about the game reviewers, because there has been some that have been doing a lot of scuttlebutt lately, and I'm looking at IGN specifically,
Mm,
because there's this, they made at least 10 to 20 articles about Mario and Luigi brothership that they've been bashing over and over, and it's just, how do people take a website like that so seriously that they have that much of pettiness to review
look,
games like that? It's just, what?
even if it would be suffice to say how you actually might believe it when actually they gave 10 to Dragon Age Veilguard. And that's a good point. Period.
So, like, any other occasions where you haven't you've tried a game that they've pretty much give a low score or a mid score, and you've tried the game and then you thought differently? Have you ever come across that?
Oh Lord. Um, to be honest, I don't recall much, but for now, I do recall instead multiple time actually happening the opposite. When actually there was a game that is even 9 and 10 when actually deserved barely a 7 or a 6. But on the opposite side, would actually be like giving on purpose, try to dismantling a game with a very low vote. I don't recall that much, but might be me with the memory.
Well, other than Brothership, I think the last time that they gave a low score was for another game. The Last Story, was it called? That was for the Wii, and I thought that was a pretty good game myself. I actually enjoyed playing it, but these websites wanted to give it a low score and all that stuff, and it's just, why? Have you guys even tried it?
Well, I mean, they are supposed to try it before giving, at the very least, but I suppose no, or maybe they actually played a total different game. That might be the only explanation for that. Because let's face it, if you actually give, I will bring, yeah, again the whole Dragon Age Veilguard example. How they actually describe with the maturity of the concept, or even the how deep a character would have been. Like, dude, really, you played that game or you played something else? Because what you actually described in your review is completely absent in that game,
Yeah, and
or
it,
on purpose exaggerate.
purposely exaggerate. Yeah, and that pretty much goes with I'm trying to think of something. I don't even remember what it was. Well, that does go with like the whole example of, there's this games that they give you. Oh yeah, with X Play. That's what I wanted to bring up. X Play, because I've watched X Play, not like since the beginning, but like in the middle of their peak and all that stuff, where they had like Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb and all that stuff. And I do recall they had a bit of a personal bias towards JRPGs. Now, back then, I didn't even mind it because, again, I was like pretty young back then, so I didn't really get it. But nowadays, in retrospective, I like, what's wrong with you guys? Why do you hate JRPGs so much that you gotta give it such hatred and all that stuff? And it's like, why do we even take these guys seriously? Why did I take them seriously back then? it,
A lot of it's really complicated on that one. I have to admit, but it's in my opinion, it just those things go a little bit like even if we do not play it or we say something different, it's something that has been trending. It's all about being trending.
yeah, trending engagement and all that stuff, getting the most likes and whatnot. Good things, I guess, for like creators, but like if you're trying to be like a reviewer and all that stuff, it's like, do you want people to take you seriously or do you want to be a grifter about it? Yeah. Uh,
I honestly would choose to be integrity over those things.
yeah. And, even the ones that do it, take it like that, they don't even get as much, I mean, that's the sad part. They don't get as much engagements as the ones, as the Sizzlers or the Webs and all that stuff of the world. And you don't know. I feel like people may be missing out too because they also review non AAA stuff, and then you pretty feel like you're missing out on some very good games that you might be sleeping on.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Which actually, and this, unfortunately, it's your fault, not you specifically.
Right.
It's also a little bit of fault for the streamer, unfortunately. But I'm not. I have no evil mean about that. But the the thing is, you can choose if you want to bring in um, example instead of bringing indie games, so you bring triple A. But I understand that streamers also have to do because they have to bring in content that actually can be entertaining for their community and also bringing and all the other things. But it really depends also what for the type of community you want to like grow up together with you. Because if you actually are not you are a streamer that actually can bringing a lot of games plus demos, so and also indie games. I don't see why not you actually shouldn't do that. I do recall also a lot of games. For example, one of an indie game that actually been incredible in my opinion, and actually it had coverage, but it should deserve more. Blasphemous 2. Blasphemous 2 is one of those example of indie games that actually are extremely powerful that can be incredibly entertaining, but probably is not for everyone because a lot of people that follow streamers also want something light to watch. Then it shouldn't be something too serious to watch or something to spending too much effort or attention in it. Want to some genuine laugh or something like that, and they don't look some seriousness in in those things. So they might prefer some content more, like I said, more lightweight, pretty much.
Hmm. Very good points right there, Sammy. And that one brings me to. I saw an interesting article just now about the 10 worst games of 2024 according to Metacritic. If you're interested in, I'll be reading them and all that stuff, and then you can just give me your viewpoints on it if you ever played it, and if not, that's fine. You can even watch the trailer on it if you'd want to, but that's up to you. But I might as well give you what they think is the 10 worst games of 2024. So, if you're ready, are you ready for this?
Let's go. I'm sure I get mad about. I'll get mad at that. Go ahead.
So let's see. Number 10 is a game called Skur Ritual, and they describe it as this appears to be another attempt at a small studio making a COD zombies-like wave-based shooter. But critics didn't appreciate the game's lackluster combat and bad matchmaking. Oddly, the game's Steam reviews are mostly positive, so perhaps the devs have improved things since launch. And that was number 10, Skur Ritual.
Hmm.
You never heard of
I
it?
don't recall it.
Oh, you don't recall it? All right, we
No.
can move on. So for number 9, Die by the Blade. This is described as a one versus one samurai fighting game. According to reviews, that's all it really offers. Many reviews complain about a lack of content, as well as bad camera work. One reviewer even suggested it felt like an early access game sold as a full product. Ouch.
Damn.
Well, that's some shade right there.
God damn.
Number 8. Oh, this is gonna be one.
Oh
Funko
no.
Fusion.
Oh my
Funko
god.
Fusion could have been something fun, a wacky adventure mixing together different franchises and worlds. Instead, it's a boring, annoying, barely functional third-person action game starring the ugly Funko Pops, solving bad puzzles and fighting the same 10 enemies over and over, again with guns and laser pistols. Please don't play it. Save your money. Buy some pizza. Watch one of the movies included in this collection instead. It'll be much more enjoyable, and you won't have to restart the movie 5 times to reach the end. And I just want to add.
Why I do have the impression this has been written by a troll.
Well, I would like to add I don't like the Funko Pops either. I personally find them very annoying.
Well, yeah, I got that one. I'm not even much of a fan of, but seriously, for how actually is written, I can see there is a tiny little line of sarcasm, but the way it's said is so much like, "Hey, hello, I'm trolling you."
I guess that person also doesn't like the Funko Pop in general. I guess I don't know. I mean, I hate them too, but not that much. I just rather just sell them back to another third, third, not third, but like a used store or something that buys them up, which there's a lot of.
Well, yeah, but there is also another thing. Even if you actually don't like that, if you have to give you might get also an honest review without being like affected by this one. This is
True.
actually what the people that make reviews sometimes actually forget about. When they actually have to keep out their own um, personal feelings about something that they actually don't like and try to keep it away from the review.
I agree. All right, we can move on to the next game. Number 7, Silent Hill: The Short Message. Scored 53 for the PS5. It's wild that one in 2024, one of the best games we played was Silent Hill 2 Remake. Meanwhile, in the same 12 months, Konami also released Silent Hill: The Short Message, a first-person horror game that wasn't very good, and which most people likely forgot about within the weeks of playing it. At least it was free and short. Any thoughts?
It was an experience.
An experience, huh?
It was an experience. I mean, I also played this one, this Silent Hill. I'll be honest. I didn't like it myself, but if we have, and here is the Sammy critic and reviewer unquote. Silent Hill, if we're going to watch in general, historically speaking, Silent Hill never brightened much about gameplay.
Hmm.
It's always been about the experience, about this, the feelings, the atmosphere, all the things. Silent Hill has never been, uh, like I said, like a star for the gameplay. If we have to critique, I would I would critique it most like the way probably is been told the story, because it's been like one of those things that could actually been told in much less time, because there were spots where actually it's been annoying for not good use, for no sense. It's been obnoxious and annoying at some point, but at the end of the day it was for telling a story. Then it's a very complicated one, touching serious, um, very serious topics, which is also a good thing in my honest opinion. But on the other hand, I feel like it's been an experiment. Probably not the best result for an experiment, but at least they tried, and they've been and also they've put it on free, because let's face it, there were also other games done much worse, where actually you let the players doing the work of the alpha dev for correcting bugs and such. They didn't even do that. They at least gave you a game that was already polished, without bugs, or as far as I know, I didn't see them. That that wouldn't mean that there are no bugs, because there could be actually bugs and I didn't notice. But as far as I could see, it was a very polished game. And for that games, then actually you let the people finding bugs and letting them correcting for future patches after the release, and they have to make you spend $50 or $60, $80. So I wouldn't say it's the worst among the worst. It's been an experience. Let's just take it like it was, and reminding that it was much worse titles than that, that asked at least $70.
Oh, good point. Good viewpoint. Now we can move on to the next game. Number 6, Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. It got a 53 on Metacritic, and it's for the PS5. The original Test Drive Unlimited was awesome, and it was in many ways the predecessor to Forza Horizon's big open worlds. Solar Crown, on the other hand, is a buggy disaster that players didn't enjoy and which wasn't even playable for a few days at launch due to server problems. It also had 3 different release dates based on how much you paid. Bleh. Thoughts?
Server games are a lot of problems.
A lot of problems.
But
So I guess the
mm-hmm,
one that they wanted to point out is 3 different release dates based on how much you paid. So basically, how much you pre-ordered or the amount you pre-ordered.
payment shouldn't be a matter of review, or at the very least, you can put it if actually if actually a game is badly polished with all the bugs, etc., etc. Because it's been like you made. Okay, here's the thing: how would you feel if you, for example, pay Last of Us 1, you pay $70, for example, and then a couple of years later it's been released the Last of Us 1 remastered, and you have to pay $90. How would make you feel, with pretty much very few differences between?
Very few, nothing new. I'd feel like I'd be ripped off, honestly.
That's probably a thing when actually you might put the fact that actually a remaster that is, it has pretty much no new content at all, with just being a little bit better in graphic, but not that much. It wouldn't justify to spending it for like a brand new game So and increase also nonetheless because it's a remaster. On that matter, I might adding it, but like an extra. But if we have to consider the review of the game on quote, we might want to keep it separate, as much as separate as possible. If actually is affecting very much the game because it's frankly a fraud, I would add it. If not, I wouldn't.
Very good points to make. And now let's see. On to the next game. Number 5, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Arcade: Wrath of the Mutants.
Oh,
Score
come on, but really?
Score
But he was so
52
cute!
on the PS5. Mutant Mayhem is a fantastic movie with one of my favorite fight scenes from recent memory. Wrath of the Mutants, on the other hand, is just a quick and bare bones port of the 2017 arcade game that has the title that sort of sounds like the popular movie. So yeah, this is just a bland cash grab. There are much better TMT games to play instead of this. And what do you think about that?
I honestly found it cute. I found it cute as a video game, but I'm not much. I didn't play much of the other Ninja Turtle games.
I mean, the only last time I played the collection that had the arcade game, which was pretty fun. And it's a good arcade port too. I liked it. I liked it back then. I still like it now, and I'm glad that they've released it on console finally.
So actually, your possible review it wouldn't actually fit for what actually this guy said.
Very probably not, but I haven't played the newest one. Apparently, it's like I guess it's like a remaster or something, or they just gave it new assets. I'm not really sure. It's a bit confusing to know, you know. All right.
As always.
Yeah. All right. So the next game, Prenumata, score 52, and it's on the PC. This horror game was made by one person, so credit to them. They shipped a mostly working game. That's not easy. But Prenumata isn't very good, with poor level design, bad enemy AI, and not many scares. I've never heard of this one. How about you?
Not even I.
Uh,
Not even I. What it's supposed to be?
well, I guess it's like one of those horror games where you're supposed to run from the enemy instead of attack it and all that stuff.
Ah, what is that? Another Slenderman copy?
Likely.
Oh,
All right, number 3, Taxi Life, a city driving simulator. Score 51 on the PC. This is a very pretty looking game that lets you drive around Barcelona as a taxi driver. Sadly, it's not that much fun to drive. Offers little depth, and there's much better transportation sims out there. Also, as a crazy taxi fan, this game lacks offspring music and big jumps. I mean,
oh, in all of that, Foxy Beth said it's a Friday the 13th copy.
a Friday the 13th copy. For the last
Ah!
game. Well, I mean, I liked
Oh.
Friday the 13th back when it was still active and, not dead. But Prenumata, if it's like that, eh, I don't know. I don't know if I would give it a try either way.
I mean, there are already also other games like that. It's still a format that has been recycled over and over again.
Oh, right. All right, number 2, Looney Tunes, Wacky World of Sports. Score 47, and it is for the PS5 version. The good Looney Tunes characters are still funny and charming in Wacky World of Sports. The bad, everything else. Co-op sports game plays poorly, has only 4 sports to choose from. It looks like it fell out of 2015. Avoid and watch some old clips of Bugs and Daffy on YouTube instead. Oh, hey, look. This game was also published by Game Mill.
Make we should make ourselves a question and giving ourselves a answer.
So Game Mill also made the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game. So I don't know if they're like trying to be like Aspire, Aspire, the people that ported that
Mm-hmm.
shitty Battlefield Star Wars Battlefront game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like holy crap. I don't know what they're trying to do. And here's the number one worst video game of 2024 is Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash, which scored 44 on for the PS5 version. If you Google it, you'll find a lot of people calling it the worst anime game released in years and bragging about how they refunded it quickly. Others are warning people not to buy it. I'll quote one negative Steam review: Roblox JJK games are more worthy of your time.
Isn't it inspired by the manga?
Jujutsu Kaisen, yes.
Yeah, because I do remember the manga of Jujutsu Kaisen.
So I guess the game that they made, Namco Bandai made it, by the way. So, I mean, they make a lot of anime games.
I mean, they've done that, and the Naruto, Dragon Ball, and such.
Oh, Lord. And hello, Dios. Thank you for coming to our podcast. Much
Hi,
appreciated.
so good to see you.
And on that note, let's see. I don't know if you want to go through another list, or shall we go to our Game Awards predictions, or shall we talk about something else?
Well, we touched the worst, so we should try the best.
The best, if I could find it. Well, there's 30 PlayStation 1 games we'll never forget. And then, well, I'm looking at through Kotaku, so yeah. So I'm just looking at their articles right now to see what's worth talking about and all that stuff. Uh, Grand Theft Auto 6 first trailer.
But it didn't even get it. It didn't even be released.
No, but we did see the trailer, and that is one of those games that I voted. I believe it was
Well,
most anticipated. Yeah.
I don't want to break the enthusiasm of people. Could we just try to not judging a game from a trailer? Did we forgot how actually it was spectacular? And you probably might know about this scandal the day before.
I remember that.
Do you remember how actually people were so hyped and already making reviews about the the trailer of the day before? Look at how actually. I'm sure for those games for GTA 6, it wouldn't ending up like that. But we shouldn't actually judging a game for the trailer because wake up, guys and girls. When the company make you see a video game through a trailer, they have the best interest to showing you the best and most polished things. They're not going to presenting you a trailer where actually the game it might be a little bit clanky or in the action where actually boring. It's presentation, it's marketing. Don't judge a game only by a trailer. Judge the game from its entire from the entire context they give.
Oh my goodness. And I actually found a list of top 10 best video games of 2024 according to Time Magazine. And I've seen some choices that you might start to question there. So I figured we should get to it, and then we'll just get your thoughts on it, Sammy.
Let's go. Let's do it.
All right, so they gave Helldivers 2 number 10. What do you think?
eh, eh, eh,
Eh.
eh, eh. Helldivers 2, as much as is entertaining, I don't feel it like it actually is a complete game. Because when actually I got it, all people were very much waiting for how is called the robot army.
Oh, I don't remember what it's called.
But pretty much there were the space guys that actually were going into the planets, and the only type of enemies would have found were the insects.
Ah, kind of
And
like
all the
Starship
people, yeah,
Troopers, the movie.
mm. And those are and there were people like, oh, but don't worry, will arrive also the the faction with the androids, the robots, and those type of things. So, and it wasn't like already available. It's something that had to be waiting for something. So, if you have to adding content time, I don't feel it like is a complete game where actually all the content is there. It's not even to consider a DLC because I mean, if actually Helldivers 2 had to releasing every army race with the DLC, probably wouldn't gone too far.
Very true. And number 9, Lego Horizon Adventures.
Forgive me, fan of Legos. I'm not a fan of the Legos.
Oh, why not?
Probably because I never liked it much, the Lego. And probably because I don't remember when I was a kid, I slipped and just felt with my ankles on pieces of Legos.
Yeah,
You
it's kind
have
of like
bad memories of them.
thumbtacks.
No, I'm joking, but joking aside, I never been much attracted by the Lego games. As much as I find them cute, but I prefer always the realistic version of the game. But
Aye.
I understand that people have a lot of love for the Lego version. Like for example, I don't know if actually it's still free on Epic, the Lego Skywalker Saga.
I don't think so. I'm not sure either, but
Probably it was I don't know if actually is still on or it was last week, but I do get it eventually is
hmm.
cute and fun, but if there is if there is actually the realistic version of it, I would prefer the realistic one.
Oh, very good win. All right, now for number 8, Star Wars Outlaws.
What you heard has been a face bump.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've done a face palm. What reason they gave for this?
Let's see. Welcome to a wretched hive of scum and villainy. Massive entertainment and Ubisoft take gamers to a seedy underside of the galaxy far, far away, where they play as Kaves, a thief and scoundrel with heart of pyrite, who is looking to escape the Outer Rim and start a new life on one of the core worlds. To go into the game pretty much, and even though it has some frustrating bugs, upon release they have since been patched, making for a smoother and more thrilling release. Whether players choose to go gun blazing, or employ stealth tactics, Outlaws rewards their playstyle, offering blaster and gear upgrades that best works with their choices, and plenty to explore. So basically, they just like how much content it has. But for you, how do you feel about that?
And whoever made the review didn't play that game. They didn't play that game.
They say it offers a compelling story about crime and class that creates hope for more.
Compelling story. Compelling story. For the fucking sake, a compelling story. Are you fucking shitting me?
Well, this is Time Magazine we're talking about, so.
Ah, that explains a lot then. Go ahead, go.
Alright, so number 7, they gave it to Black Myth Wukong. Well, I
And
would say that's a good choice. It is above Star Wars Outlaws.
I'm curious about which games they put above this,
Oh,
because
but yeah.
this is the part that actually preoccupy me most.
Oh, well. So far, they say it's best art design, and it's filled with gorgeous detailed scenes, offshore rests, temples, and mountains.
Hmm.
The interpretation of mythological beings matches the God of War franchise in its bold and occasionally horrifying imagination.
Hmm.
I mean, they say it has. They cite the lack of familiarity with the novel. I mean, is it really much of a hindrance if it's not much familiar with the novel itself? I don't think so. I think it's doing its own thing, which is not necessarily a bad thing either. It's just doing their own rendition of uh, Journey to the West. That's the
Hmm.
story I was talking about. Because I mean, people look at Dragon Ball, not Dragon Ball Z, that's the sequel, but like the original Dragon Ball, that's like an original interpretation of Journey to the West, and it's one of the greatest animes of all time. At
Hmm.
least some anime aficionados would say that. So,
Well,
I
I mean, for that, for if you think about it, the Son Goku is actually as a reinterpretation to Son Wukong,
yeah, pretty much.
so it's already there.
I mean, it's already there. It's just their own different interpretation of the novel. So you don't really need to understand a novel to get the game. You just experience it for yourself, is what I'm saying. Especially
Yeah.
if you like Souls like, because it is a Souls like. So all right, let's go. For the next one, oh Jesus. So above that game, they gave two expansion packs of Alan Wake 2, Night Springs and the Lake House, for number 6. Have you ever played that series?
I did play the first, but the first Alan Wake,
Not
and
the
yeah, sorry,
not the second one.
no,
Oh,
no, because I started to play it and be like, not for me.
oh goodness. All right, then let's go on to number 5. They gave it to Neva.
Hmm.
Neva that has the art style that I like. I really enjoy the art style.
Yeah, I like it also too.
Oh yeah, and I also
Even
like the story as well.
if you remember, I also said that Neva actually gave me also the vibe of the Spirit of the Fox game
Ah,
as
yes, you did.
as atmosphere, not
Yes.
as a gameplay, but as atmosphere reminded me a lot of that one.
Yeah, it also gives me like the vibes of a Spirited Away, the
Mm-hmm.
Studio Ghibli movie. I loved that movie, and I feel like Neva is like it goes hand in hand too. It's almost like the animators were like inspired by it. It's pretty cool. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good place, number 5, I would say.
Yeah, in fact.
Yeah.
And it saddened me because actually I think it deserved much more um, recognition than actually journalists and also streamers actually gave to that game. I think they should have gave much more credit to this.
I
So
agree.
probably I would have put even fourth.
Yeah, I would agree as well. And let's see. Oh, number 4, Silent Hill 2 remake.
And why they gave it for a game that for people that actually don't know, Silent Hill has been done in 2001. So you're actually pricing giving a celebration and such for a game that has been created pretty much 23 years ago.
I guess it's for the people that are just experiencing it this day and age and they just couldn't like get it
They
again.
could
Well, I don't
they
know.
could actually play the original. Nothing stopped them.
Well,
And
unless you want to pay like the $1,000 prices on eBay.
come on, mate. There are also the emulators nowadays. They could actually use and pretty much play Silent Hill 2
I mean, there's that
without
too, but it's
spending
like
that
one of those
much.
things. It's like one of those things where you kind of have to avoid doing that and all that stuff, so you don't find out.
Nah.
Oh, here we go. Number 3, another one. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Can I be honest? I think the industry have big problem.
Oh,
Have a big, big, big problem.
what might that
And
be?
don't come at me saying, "Oh, but those games are so revolutionary. They have an incredible storytelling. They're incredible game. Their whole gameplay and story's been done. They've been there. And now Final Fantasy VII Remake is 1997.
Yes, that's already been re-released on every other console. The original, yes.
So the story is nothing new. So how actually is that extraordinary to be revolutionary?
Well, they did. In all fairness, they did add some. They did fill in some plot holes to the
Oh gee,
remakes.
oh gee, thanks. Filling that holes with Kingdom Hearts shit. Thank you very much.
No, I'm also talking about the Zack Fair storyline as well from the you know from his old PSP game. So
You
they added,
mean with the Crisis Core?
yeah, the Crisis Core, yeah.
The Crisis Core is already existing too. It
True.
was a P- it was a PSP game. Originally was done for PSP.
Yes, and
And
they
I
did
know they
re-release it
actually
again.
extended it. Yeah, and they re-released the game. And I understand they might have actually extended it a little bit, but did the main plot actually change? I don't think so.
Not much. I mean, they added more, but yeah. All right. So for number 2, Astrobot. Ooh. Ah,
Wasn't
yes.
it the exclusive PS5 platform game that has been
Yes.
done?
It's like they took a page from like one of the Nintendo platformers and got inspired by it pretty much. And I thought it was a pretty good game personally. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a good one. And it was pretty much one of their Sony's creative experiments that I would like to see more of with their own IP, you know? Not just Astrobot, but like I hope they bring more to the table with their other IP similarly.
Well, it would be cute. It would be cute, but speaking with people that actually grow up with platform games, so we actually would be okay if actually there would be more platform games being brought to the table, but maybe to actually a big portion of the fans prefer something like Fortnite because platform is boring. Probably no.
Well, it would be nice to see Fortnite bring a mode. I don't know. Similar to that, but that's just me.
That might be a good change. Interesting to you know.
Very true, very true. All right, so I hope you're ready for what they rank as number 1.
I won't be ready, but let's do it.
All
Even
right,
if I'm not ready.
and for the number 1 is Dragon Age: The Veilguard.
I will bring back up my president's statement. Companies have a problem. The industry have a problem. And for what reason actually it was the best game because I'm kind of like I have those feelings and vibes about they judge the game with, but it's been like you played another game. So for what reason they actually gave first place?
Well, let's see. So they say it between Elder Scrolls and Baldur's Gate 3. There's no shortage of great high fantasy RPGs to play. Blah blah blah. It's been a decade since Dragon Age Inquisition, and despite an incredible run for developer BioWare, their last decade was marred by the cancelled game Shadow Realms, the disappointing Andromeda game, and disastrous foray into MMOs with Anthem. We do wonder if BioWare still has the sauce to return to Dragon Age, and they did with the Veilguard that comes out swinging, and BioWare clearly had something to prove. Well, obviously, the character creation system, they were very impressed with that. They were impressed with the story, taking a decade after the events of Inquisition, and the impressive details of the in-game worlds and all that stuff. Greater attention to character traits and all that stuff. And they feel like it's been very, numerous. They feel like it's very numerous with the contents. How do you feel about that?
I have a suggestion to give.
Go ahead.
Play Dragon Age Original instead.
The original trilogy?
No, no, Origins, the first one.
Ah, yes. I still haven't played it myself, believe it or
You
not.
will find it. You will find it compared to Veilguard out of reach. Just saying this.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
Even because the type of game as much as is getting a little bit old, so probably might be a little bit difficult probably to play, but the type of story and such is much more um not only that makes more sense and it's engaging, but it's also mature enough to make it loving it.
oh yeah, I especially like the way that you have like branching options from the first game, and then it'll be like somewhat addressed in the next game that'll be coming out, which was 2, and then Inquisition. So yeah, there's some decisions that you make between all
Mm-hmm.
three that okay, not much decisions because there was some stuff parts about 2 that I didn't like, at least from what I saw. I haven't played it
Mm-hmm.
yet. Again, I will reiterate, but I did see playthroughs. There are some decisions that you make in the game that aren't that effective, and I do find it, and I was a bit critical about that in the second game, especially. But no spoilers, of
Mm-hmm.
course. But yeah, that's how I feel about it, pretty much, at least from visually. But I still have to play it, so yeah.
Yeah, and it's also with the fact that actually give you the false impression to actually your choice manner.
Right, and I feel like they
Like
made a
if
bit
you
of a
have to,
mistake. Right.
yeah, like you have to decide we want to go to the left or to the right, and you choose like I want to go to the right, and then make point you out, but and to the right there is a big dragon that should fire. I want to go to the right anyway. No, 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 we're not going there. We're going to the left. And force you to go to the left because they don't want you to go to the dragon.
Exactly. All right. Let's see, and that should be the top 10 according to Time. How do you feel about the entire list so far?
For some, I don't feel like they made justice to that game because they deserved something better in position. Others that are completely bullshit. Be in such top position and because and I think another thing because sometimes we forget about that when actually was said for in the case of Dragon Age Veilguard Then there has been no RPG actually, proper RPG made like that. I beg to disagree because there's been actually not even too long ago Baldur's Gate 3 that people. But if we want to look into the indie scenario, there's been Pathfinder: The Wrath of the Righteous,
Yes, I agree.
which, fun enough, give you much more choice to be even the evil one. And same thing also Baldur's Gate. They don't even if you want to you want to go with the bad path or doing the bad choice, go ahead. But know this: if you take this type of choices, remember that there are consequences. So if you go to that way, you have to know that there are consequences for your actions. So it treats your it treats your gamers with that maturity that they deserve and not treating them like if they are stupid idiots.
Mm-hmm.
Because gamers are up to taking their own responsibility to taking a path that may be difficult or even lead you to be not the hero but being the villain. But at the very least, they'll allow you to do those. And even fun enough, reaching the ending of that game with the type of path you actually choose, considering considering both games, both Pathfinder as also with Baldur's Gate 3, as you might know. For
Yes.
Dragon Age Velgard, there is no such a freedom. They give you the impression that you have that freedom to choose, but it really doesn't matter because you're forced to do the choice that is been designed for you to walk. So at this point, I would prefer don't give the choice if you really don't have this intention. At least you've been a little bit more honest with your own gamers instead to make a fool out of them.
Totally agree. All right. So we got time to go through a let's see oh finally we got time to go through the Game Awards, Sammy.
Woohoo!
Predictions.
Big topics.
Oh yeah.
And which one we are going to cover?
Oh, we're gonna cover all the awards.
Here's the
All the
thing.
awards.
How about we start from the bottom and we leave the game of the year to the last?
To the last one.
So
Sounds
we
good.
start from the best esports team.
Sounds good to me. All right. So, this is the thing that we've been waiting for. So, we're going to start with hold on, let me just get to my get to my all categories. Okay.
Hmm.
So, we're going to start with let's see. Let's go with the most anticipated game. So the choices for that one are Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, Ghost of Yote, Grand Theft Auto 6, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and Monster Hunter Wilds.
The most anticipated game between those two,
4, yeah. 5,
four,
sorry.
five actually.
Yeah. So
I'll be I'll be saying it's a tough choice. Tell me what you actually think about that.
I gave it to Grand Theft Auto 6 because I'm pretty sure everyone else is going to vote for that.
Hands down, everyone are waiting for that.
oh yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, Grant.
But I wouldn't I wouldn't put down Monster Hunter Wilds.
Oh, Monster Hunter Wilds either. Yeah, that was going to be my second choice. And then from my third, obviously, Metroid Prime, because, I'm a Nintendo fan at the end of the day. So I could see one of those three. win it. Of course, I could also see Death Stranding 2 win it as well. You know, I mean, they're all pretty good choices personally, but that's
Mm-hmm.
just me. All right, let's see.
I would. I also, like you, would think probably the most anticipated one between those are Grand Theft Auto 6. As well, I think it's fairly equal between GTA 6 and Monster Wild.
Yes, and
There's
now
so much hype, even on
there's a lot of hype
social
for it.
media.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And now we got going to the next category: best adaptation, recognizing outstanding creative work that faithfully and authentically adapts a video game to another entertainment medium. So TV shows, comics, and all that stuff. And here
Hmm.
are the nominees: Arcane, Fallout, Knuckles from Sonic the Hedgehog, Like a Dragon, The Yakuza, and Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft. I've watched Fallout, so I could see that one winning personally.
I agree. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I think Fallout is pretty much one of the winner. I think for that.
Oh yeah, but I could also see the Like a Dragon show also winning it too, because it's a niche game, but at the same time it's a very popular one as well.
It is, but we have also to consider that if we have also to consider the fan base between Fallout and Like a Dragon, we might have a much more fan base of Fallout than Like a Dragon.
I agree. Well,
So
actually,
I
for that
think
matter, I could
probably,
see Arcane winning it that too in that case as well, because it is League of Legends is pretty popular. As much somewhat not as high as the other two maybe, but like I would say like on the same level perhaps.
mhm. Yeah, in fact, and as much as I remember, also the um, the fan base actually loved so much Arcane.
Oh
So
yeah.
we have also to keep in consideration also that one.
Mhm. All right. So next category: best multiplayer for outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genre or platform. So the nominees, they gave it to Space Marine 2, Warhammer 4000, Tekken 8, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Helldivers 2, and Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Now, I would like to see Super Mario Party Jamboree win, and I've played it a couple of times just now, even before the podcast, and I've enjoyed it. I would love to see it win, but at the same time, it's very obvious that they're going to give it to a Call of Duty game. I mean, sad to say. I would say sad to say, but you know.
Yeah,
Oh, have a good
I
night,
agree.
Foxy Beth. Thank you for coming to our
Have a good
podcast.
night, Foxy Bath. Take care. Thank you for watching.
And yeah, go ahead, the Fox, keep give your opinion on it while I be right back.
Okay. Well, I mean, for me, you actually are pretty much right about the Call of Duty because, yeah, it's like one those genders actually is really solid and pretty much covered so many people on social media, but it's also quite covered with advertisement, big industries. So yeah, on this matter, probably the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 it might be it might be the best multiplayer, but as much as I know, also a couple of people probably would like see Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. My only thing is, and it's not being covered that much. I would have thought and hoped actually that this game it would have been covered much more than actually it would have been. But considering I'm not a fan at all of Call of Duty, so I voted for Helldivers 2.
Well, that's not a
In
bad
my
decision to make, I will say.
and welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah. As far as my predictions, I already gave my prediction, but I also could see Warhammer could be the odd man out of all of them. I will say.
It's so
But
sad that I was saying it's so sad that actually it's been covered not that much as actually it should have been.
right. But at the same time, it's like obviously we already know the obvious choice from that one, and I mean, y'all don't have any taste if that wins. I will
Yeah.
say that if it wins, y'all have bad taste. Some judgment aside, I will say, no offense.
Well, I mean, for these at the very least, it's not like we have much to saying about that. You know that
True, true.
because it's even stated in the side that actually those things the vote from the people is 10%. The rest is the 90%.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Who is within those 9%? It's a certain IGN.
Yes. All right, and now let's gonna go to best sports racing for the best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing game.
Do we
They
have to?
do you, do you have to? Yes. F1 24, EA Sports FC 25, NBA 2K25, Topspin 2K25, and WWE 2K24. And honestly, I have not played the other four games. I gave it to WWE 2K24 because I feel like there's a lot of wrestling fans out there that would probably go in and vote it maybe. I don't know. But at the same time, there's a lot of basketball fans. They outnumber the wrestling fans, I will say, realistically. So it might go to NBA. But other than that, eh. I just
Yeah,
gave my vote for it.
I would agree. I would agree with you, but the big thing about WWE game is there is no much of a difference because even if actually you have the 2K24, 2K23, 2K22, it's not like they actually changed that much. So even if actually changes something with the characters or graphics, it's not like a change like they're different games. It's always the same. At some point, you grow bored and say like, yeah, okay, you release the one, but who fucking cares about that?
Right.
But at the end, because I have a little soft spot for wrestling, I gave a vote to WWE 2K20 as much as my critics.
Yes. Same here.
And I will say I have a lot of conflict on interest for that. So take my vote as not much legitimate.
Yep, pretty much. These are all just our choices, so it's really not considered a fact in any case. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next topic. Next topic is best sim strategy, best game focused on real time or turn based simulation or strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform. So, Age of Mythology Retold, Frostpunk 2, Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess, Minor Lords, and Unicorn Overlord.
I am not sure about the last,
The
but
last
I
one?
heard the Kunitsugami, Manor Lords, and Unicorn Overload.
Hmm.
I have no idea whatsoever about those.
Yep.
I do know that Frostpunk 2 it's been like not much what would you expected from the second episode of the Frostpunk. because it felt like meh compared to the first one. I gave my vote to Age of Mythology Retold.
Mm. The one that I gave it to, because I have played Manor Lords, it was a pretty interesting take on it, I will say.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
tell me about it.
well, I mean, you're basically, it's like you're playing, it's like an old school version almost. You're playing a lord. Hold on. Let me give a better description. You're basically building a city in the medieval times, and then you basically try to take care of it,
mm,
and whatnot. And you can, I guess you can say, call it a colony simulation. You own your own colony, try to take it to the top, and try to make it seem like the most powerful one ever, and then you just try to defend it, take care of it, take care of its people that you're part of, and it's like a castle builder almost too.
okay, so it's an Age of Empires like.
Almost, yeah. But it's like a different twist to Age of Empires, but in a medieval setting. Like this is like strictly medieval. There's no like every different empire, so you don't choose like different like what do you call it again? Timelines or whatever.
Timelines.
Yeah, I guess that I don't know if that's the word that I'm looking for, but it's like this all takes place in the medieval era, so
Mm-hmm.
you try to take care of your colony, you take care of your castle and all that stuff, and be the best lord that you can be during that time period. And I
Okay.
thought it was a good way to go about it.
Uh,
And that's just me though.
well, I mean, yeah, it makes sense also. I do understand all the fascination about this Manor Lord for how you describe it, but I would keep my Age of Mythology.
Oh, very good. And now
Then we got
let's.
the best family.
Oh, yes. Let's see. Best family. So in here, best family for best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform. You got Astrobot, Princess Peach Showtime, Super Mario Party Jamboree, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and The Plucky Squire.
I feel like this is one of the cases when actually one game is like forced in and overwhelm. And I'm speaking about Astrobot. It feels like been put here for being like an easy win, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I would see a lot of people actually voting for Astrobot, considering it is the best family. But because I'm a little bit, I like choosing something different than people, I would say Princess Peach Showtime. Also Super Mario Party Jamboree. But considering it's about family, I would go still with Princess Peach Showtime.
Hmm. Well, traditionally, this award is always given to Nintendo games, Nintendo made games, and all that stuff. So it's pretty obvious that they always win that category, usually with their games, especially now that they have like 3 games on there. So I
Mm-hmm.
gave my vote to Mario Party Jamboree because, well, honestly, like I said, I enjoyed it. I think everyone can enjoy it, and it's like one of those titles where you can get really competitive, like Monopoly in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same
Aw,
time,
I thought
yeah,
I
there's like
thought
appeals
because
to
you,
all. Huh?
I thought because you're a Nintendo fanboy.
Well, that too, but at the same time, it's like it appeals to everyone. But and then
Mm-hmm.
there are times you can also get hardcore with it too, like trying to grab the most stars or
Yeah, it's
trying to
like
trying to steal someone else's stars when you have enough coins. And boy, is it easy to get a lot of coins if you know how to win mini
absolutely
games.
yes.
So yeah, it can get pretty competitive, but at the same time, it has an appeal to everyone too.
Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah, yeah, I got it. What you mean?
all right. So the next topic is best fighting. best game designed primarily around head-to-hand combat. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, Arcade Classics,
Mm-hmm.
Multiversus, and Tekken 8.
Didn't Multiversus actually closed?
No, it's still pretty much going on. I just guess they're taking a break or something. I don't know.
Because I thought actually closed.
Oh no, it's still pretty active.
Okay, okay. My vote on that has been Grand Blue, Fantasy versus Rising.
And why'd you choose that one?
Because pretty much for Multiverses, it's not like I played it that much, but I felt more like it's it's not exactly in the proper category for the type of game it is, because it's a battle royale. Okay, but it. I'm not feeling like is in the proper one. On the other hand, Tekken 8 and like for WWE is still Tekken. It's always the same one. Seen it every single time. So it's like nothing that for the Marvel vs. Capcom Arcade Classic. I play it, but I didn't see that much of an improvement from the old Marvel vs. Capcom games or Marvel vs. Street Fighter. What? It just because it's been added the multiplayer, but okay, but does it justify that much all the rest? I'm not sure.
I would argue that it
And
does because it was the Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2, obviously. Those two games, whew, they've been out of storefronts for like forever, like since 2010 or 2009,
but they were for
2009.
PS1.
It's like it's been a long time since we last saw those games on the storefront. So it's like to see it return the way it does, I can say it's a very welcome addition to what we have so far. I mean, a return to the originals, especially after Capcom's disastrous, oh my lord, disastrous Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which didn't, no, not 3, was it 3? No.
Hmm.
No,
The
wait.
one where there is a
One, two,
Sigma
three,
and the
4. No, that was
Ultron.
4. Infinite.
Uh,
Marvel vs. Capcom
Infinite is
Infinite.
the
That was a
4.
disastrous game, I will say. I mean, it's not a bad game, but it just has, oh my lord, it just has too much, it has almost nothing, pretty much. Like, it's not as robust as 3 was, or 2, not even 1, and 1 had the least content out of all of them. But,
Hmm.
I don't know, it just somehow has even less than 1. I don't know how that's even possible. Maybe because of at the time they tried to get the X-Men in the games, but I don't know, it was a weird thing between Disney and Capcom, I guess. So weird times too,
Hmm.
because they didn't really see the X-Men as profitable at the time, I guess, and they're trying to push
Yeah.
the Avengers and all that stuff. And I guess it's something with Sony going on, I guess, because they also owned the rights to it, but they got them back now, so who knows?
It could
In
be.
any
It
case,
could change also.
yeah.
It could change. Yeah.
In any case, I'm just glad it was back. I'm glad it's returned to the storefronts. It deserves to be back in the storefronts, and hopefully we don't see it disappear again. In case Disney tries to pull some scuttlebutt shit on it.
Let's cross fingers. Yes.
Yeah, but you know how it is with Disney, right?
Yeah.
All
And
right.
hell know how much they ruin things.
Uh, don't remind me. All right.
No.
Best
Um.
RPG. Best game
Yeah.
designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. So, Dragon's Dogma 2, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy, uh, 7 Rebirth, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and Metaphor Refantasio.
Metaphor.
Metaphor.
Hands down, metaphor.
I thought Metaphor brought everything to the table as well, so that's why I
Tell me
gave my
where.
vote.
But as far as you can tell me, is there any multiplayer in Final Fantasy VII?
I do not remember. Heck, I don't even remember for Elden Ring, but then again, From
Where
Software does
actually,
multiplayer
well, I mean,
weird.
the massively multiple. I mean, for Elden Ring, the multiplayer experience might be like the invasions, and that's it.
Eh,
That's the only multiplayer thing, or eventually the co-op for the boss fights, like always been for all the Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Demon Souls.
oh
So
my
the
goodness.
experience. But for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I didn't even remember there was a multi
Yeah, I don't remember either, honestly.
or character customization. You can character customize Tifa?
I'm not even sure.
I'm not even sure about that.
Yeah. In any
So,
in any case, I just gave my vote to Metaphor. I do want to see it win, but I would also like to see Dragon's Dogma 2 win it too.
Dragon Dogma 2 make also much sense on this list.
Yeah.
Considering of all five, Dragon Dogma, in my opinion, is the most fitting for the choice for best RPG.
Nope.
If we wanna considering it for the description said, but I want to go with the properly RPG type of game, I would still go with Man.
Yes. No, I agree too. All right, so the next one is
Best
Best Action
action
Adventure.
adventure.
Yep. Best action adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. They gave
Mm-hmm.
it to Astrobot, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, Silent Hill 2, Star Wars Outlaws, and The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
I do have an answer for who I think might win, and is already different from the one I want to win.
Go ahead.
The one that I think and my win for that is Silent Hill 2. But the
Really?
one that I want to, yeah, but the one that I want to win is Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
Uh, yep, singing music to my ears. That's the one I voted for as well.
It's the one because it's the only one that actually I would like to. Star Wars Outlaws out of quest for how actually is the entire game. To me, it's already an insult. Is there on the first place?
Oh, goodness.
Astrobot, maybe, but it's a platform. I don't recall for Astrobot there is action
There's some
action
combat, but
combat.
it's like more in line of a Super Mario Galaxy game,
But
you know?
yeah, yeah, okay, but not the type of action adventure I have in mind. A type of game for that for this category. Prince of Persia. Mm, yes, kind of, but still a little bit out of target for that category too. Silent Hill, unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people would vote for that without even remembering it. As always, it's a game that has been done in 2001, so there is nothing new, and I voted for The Legend of Zelda because among all five is the one more, and because it's genuinely different.
Mm-hmm. And now, let's get back to the next category, Best Action Game. For the best game in the action genre focused primarily on combat. Black Myth Wukong, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, and Warhammer 4000 Space Marine 2.
Wukong.
Oh yeah, I could see Wukong winning it. I mean, I would also see Space Marine 2 win it too. And you know what? Somewhat Stellar Blade could
Stellar
see it.
Blade also an option.
But as far as who is probably going to win it, it's going to be between Black Ops 6 and maybe Helldivers 2, honestly.
Yeah,
Those are like the.
probably. But
Yeah.
I would prefer among them a Wukong.
Yeah. Wukong or Warhammer, for me at least. I would like to see
Hmm.
one of those two.
Hey, Warhammer is because it's not being covered that much compared to the other.
Right. All right. So,
And
bet.
now we have best VR AR.
Yep. And that is
Do you
for the
play
best
VR?
game experience playable in virtual or augmented reality, irrespective of platform.
Do you play them in VR?
Sometimes, not all the time, because it does gives me headaches sometimes. So,
Mm, I
but
know what you
most of
mean.
the time, yes, sometimes. So they
I know
gave it
what you mean.
to
Same thing. Same thing.
Metro Awakening, Metal Hellsinger VR, Batman Arkham Shadow, Asgard's Wrath 2, and Arizona Sunshine Remake. And that's actually what I gave my vote. I gave it to the Arizona Sunshine Remake. I do like
You
zombie
know that
games.
game?
That's a zombie game, first
Hmm.
person and all that stuff. I've played it before. I had fun with it, and I think the remake looks beautiful. I mean,
Hmm.
all they did was up the graphics, but that's just, yeah.
I'll be honest. I gave Batman Arkham Shadow the vote, but only because I have no idea of all those three. What is the plot? With the only exception of Metal Hellsigner, but for the others, I don't know that much. So I've been like mini, miny, mo.
Right, next, best mobile game for best game playable on a mobile device. AFK Journey, Balatro, Pokemon Trading Card Gaming Pocket, Withering Waves, and Zenless Zone Zero. And to be honest, I've seen so many people liking the Pokemon Trading Card game. I gave my vote to that one because of that in particular. And because of the brand name, obviously, I could see that one winning it. But then again, I could also see Zenless winning it too because of the Hoyoverse being behind it.
In fact, yeah, I gave to Zenless.
And I think that's it for mobile. So, best indie debut: Animal Well, Baltro, Manor Lords, Pacific Dive, and The Plucky Squire for the best debut game created by a new independent studio.
Hmm.
So for this one, I would like to see Manor Lords win it. It might not. I could also see Balatro win it because that game's been getting a lot of nominations, obviously. So the reason why I didn't vote for it is because, guys, I can't play poker. I can't play poker at all, so I would not be good at it. But I do respect the fact that it is made by a small team, one person, I believe. That's the story that I was given, at least. So
I think it was made for one person,
yeah,
probably.
it was given by one person. So big respects to that. I do like the how the style looks like. So, but as far for me, as far as the best debut indie game, gave mine to Manor Lords. But that's my vote, of course, my
Hmm.
opinion. What about you, Foxy?
My vote for what I think, like I did before, for what I think might win is Balatro. For the one that I generally, Sammy, want to win is Animal Well.
I've never played that one.
Um, it's quite of a story. You should check some trailers. It will, I think, it will capture your attention. Also, it's something a little bit hard to describe. So it's something you might want to checking in. But I would say they put a lot of heart and it's sad that actually is not being the proper attention.
Oh yeah, I agree. And right, so the next topic, we got best community support.
It's the
Oh,
best community support.
recognizing a
Yeah.
game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates and patches. Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 14 online,
14, yes.
Fortnite, Helldivers 2, and No Man's Sky. I gave
It's
my
even a
vote.
it's even alive No Man's Sky still.
It is.
Stop! I'm sorry. I'm making an official request for the people then during the Game Awards. Please stop putting No Man's Sky in every year's.
I mean, hey, it took them 8 years, but they finally got positive reviews on stream. So
Okay,
they're
but
doing on
okay,
Steam. So
I get it, but there is a th- there is a limit for actually how long a game you should be presenting for a game of the year.
I
Come
mean,
on.
I still find it impressive that they took all those years to improve the game and all that stuff. I don't think it's a bad thing personally. So if they win it, good to them. Kudos. I could also see
It would be
Fortnite getting it because,
he
well,
would he
the
would be,
Fortnite community. They're big. They are
yeah,
big.
in fact,
So
they're huge, and they even covered a lot with a
yeah,
lot of
and
streamers that
Fortnite
play
since
Fortnite.
the beginning, Fortnite has changed a lot. They have so many
Hmm.
modes, so many players. They're even gonna add in even new modes, and they're bringing back the original maps from
They
the
also
beginning.
revolutionate. They also revolutionate a little bit. Also the type of game they're actually doing. Because I do recall not too long ago that it's been done in the mode where actually you don't build.
Right, the zero build. Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah.
zero
I mean,
build.
originally it was all about building and shooting and and all that stuff. But they've gone past that. It's like they have a Lego mode. They have your rocket racing. They have creative. Creative gets slept on sometimes. I do feel, but yeah,
Yeah,
people need to check it out because there are some good creations in that mode that I play some of the times. Hey,
yeah. It's very true.
but hey, the
But in
fact that they
all of
kept it
that
going,
matter, yes.
yeah,
You
it's
know,
very impressive. I, however, gave my vote to Baldur's Gate 3 because Larian has always been there. Obviously, they still do the work, they still do the time, and they do deserve the getting best community support because of how transparent they've been with the
hmm
game. What about you, Sammy?
yeah, yeah. I agree with you, and also I gave to Larry and Baldur's Gate 3 my vote because they didn't actually added with a lot of patches since they released the game, but they added a new ending. They added new um they added new dialogue and new stuff and actually more made the secondary characters more complex. They worked a lot on on everything on that. So I agree with you that the constant updates, patch, and efforts actually put since the release of that game and how it evolved now, hands down to me the best community support. I should go to Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes. And on that note, yeah, I could see. Hopefully, we could see that winning. But I could also see Fortnite winning it too. Just putting it out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, next category, Best Ongoing, awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. They gave it to Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, Diablo 4, and Destiny 2. I'm honestly surprised they put Helldivers 2 on it. I didn't think. I kind of thought they gave up on that game, personally. Especially with all the
I
stories
don't
I've been
see
reading.
actually. I don't see actually Helldivers to evolve it that much since the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. Destiny 2, I was kind of 50-50 with it. Uh, they don't get my vote, obviously, but I'm also surprised to see that one in this category as well, personally. But again, just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I gave my vote to Final Fantasy 14 because, well, being playing in it and all that stuff, I do think they have done somewhat of a good job with it thus far. And it's one of those MMOs that you just want to you kind of want to see it overtake Warcraft and all that stuff. That's just
There,
my
there has
humorous
been there has
interpretation of it.
been a there has been a period actually that Fantasy 14 was that close to actually
It was that close.
replacing World of Warcraft because a lot of people then have been like pissed with some shit happened there. Then it's been like dropping World of Warcraft and passing to Fantasy.
Yeah. But as far as who's gonna win this, I would say they're gonna give it to Fortnite. I could see
Yeah, I mean,
Fortnite winning this again.
yeah, me too. Even if I agree with you, especially for the reason that I actually said before with the zero building. This is a big evolution since start,
Oh no,
and considering that over time, also the player type of gaming on that changed and evolved also together with it. So it really that change gave a big impact to evolving even more the game.
oh yeah, I think Epic Games, they have. I mean, granted, obviously it makes them the most money, so of course they're gonna give it the most love and the most attention.
Yeah.
Putting that out there, but
Mm-hmm.
they are doing a decent job at actually addressing concerns and all that stuff, and taking in suggestions from other players and all that stuff. That it deserves to be in that category, and if it does win, then it deserves its win.
Yeah.
Ha. Now, next category, games for impact, for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message.
That's a
Closer
tough
to
one.
Distance, Indica, Neva, Life is Strange, Double Exposure, Senua Saga, Hellblade 2, and Tales of Kenzera Sao. Now, as far as I'm concerned, my shock was seeing Life is Strange Double Exposure because it's not been well received in comparison to the other titles in the series. So I was shocked
Mm-hmm.
to see it on there. I didn't think, with all the bad reviews it's been getting so far, as far as our players is concerned, that was a shock for me to see. I gave my vote to Indica because I thought it was wow. I thought it was a pretty powerful story when I played it briefly, and I thought it was very thought provoking. Yes, I
Yeah.
gave it my vote.
I gave my vote also to Indica, but I have to admit it's been quite of a fight between Indica and Senua's Saga Hellblade 2.
Oh yes.
Because even Hellblade 2 touch quite a big and considering even the historic moment we're living now, It really felt like a punch to the stomach. Very actual, also. So, to me, it's been very, very challenging, this one. But I gave my vote for pretty much your same reason.
Oh yeah, yeah. But I could all if it doesn't win, then I would like to see Hellblade 2 or even Neva win the games for Impact. So those would be my guesses as far as
Hmm.
non-votes is concerned.
But you're right, because you said to me that you didn't see the player's voice around one.
No, I didn't. No.
This remind me when you actually said that you were surprised, and actually you had Life Strange a double exposure there because of the critiques, etc., etc.
Uh huh.
Do you want to know in the round one which game actually was there?
Was it double exposure?
No, I mean also that, yes, but there was another one,
Oh, what was it?
Dragon Age Veilguard.
Oh,
And think about that, for the round two, it didn't pass.
oh my lord.
Thank you, player. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. At least you use some brain. Thank you.
Well, you might want to be surprised for this next one, innovation and accessibility, because well,
This is not
recognizing
chosen by the
software and or hardware
That's
that
not
is
chosen by
pushing.
the players.
No, this is
Just saying.
innovation in accessibility. So it's recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. And yes,
Hmm.
Dragon Age Veilguard is on this one. And it also on it is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Star Wars Outlaws, Diablo 4, and Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Which that one was a shocker to me because I'm gonna be honest, they added a DLC to add separately. You have to purchase to hear footsteps of the other
Hmm.
players. They added that as a stupid DLC for the game Black Ops 6. And then after finding that out, I was like, how in the hell did they make it in this category? Because that should take them out of the category in my opinion, and I feel like another game should have been on there instead of Black Ops 6, but somehow they made it on there, so it's like whatever. So that was
Yeah, in
my
fact.
shock. Uh,
Terribly strange, actually.
yeah. What did you
Well, I
vote
mean,
for?
even Star Wars Outlaw, actually, to me, much of a sense to be there at the very least. I gave that Diablo 4 for this one.
Hmm. I did give it to Diablo 4 as well. I mean, I think
Ah,
yeah, I do think that they need to bring it. They definitely brought it as far as accessibility is concerned. Uh, in comparison to the other games and all that stuff, at least over there. Um, honestly, they've done a good job so far, and they did make it crossplay, which is good. I'm finally glad that they did that, and
yeah, it's
pretty much
absolutely
it.
great thing. Yeah.
Ah, next category. Best performance awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, motion, and/or performance capture.
Hmm.
First off, we have Brianna White, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hannah Tell, Life is Strange Double Exposure, Humberly Gonzalez, Star Wars Outlaws, Luke Roberts, Silent Hill 2, and Melina Juergens, Senua Saga's Hellblade 2. I did like Humberly's role in Outlaws, so I did give her my vote. I will admit that.
Hmm.
Yeah, she played the main character, I believe, so I gave her my vote. I do think that they are going to give it to Luke Roberts, though, because, Silent Hill 2. It's still a beloved title for all.
Hmm. No, I instead gave the Melina Dragons my vote instead.
Uh, that's a good choice too.
especially because I like also how much emphasis she put with Hellblade.
Very good.
You can feel actually how actually she feel a lot the character of Senua, main character.
Mm. Oh, that's good to know. And next topic. I mean, next category.
Best audio design.
Yes, recognizing the best in game audio and sound design. And the nominees are Astrobot, Black Ops 6, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Senua Saga's Hellblade 2, and Silent Hill 2. Go ahead, Foxy. Put in your OP.
Because of nostalgia thing, I think a lot would vote for Final Fantasy Rebirth
Or Silent Hill 2 in that case.
or Silent Hill 2.
Yeah. But
I would see both going head to head, but probably Silent Hill 2 because so far Final Fantasy 7 is still um, exclusive for PS5. So, and Silent Hill is more widely played for all the other platforms. So, I would say, in a matter of people that actually played it more, Silent Hill. But you know me, I didn't give the vote to them. I gave the vote to Senua Saga.
I gave it to Astrobot personally. And for the specific reason of nostalgia, actually, because it did remind me of old past Nintendo platformers like 64 and even Galaxy. I mean, heck, that's what it reminded me of.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave them my vote for the audio design as far as I'm concerned. So let's go. Best score in music for outstanding music inclusive of score, original song, and/or licensed soundtrack. Stellar Blade, Silent Hill 2, Metaphor with Fantasio, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Astrobot. Go ahead.
This is another one very much similar as before. But I mean, those two are actually most likely the best score in music and audio design. They're not that different.
No, they're not. I mean, heck, I gave it to Astrobot for that one too, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, heck, I could see them winning that at least those two, if not the other. But hey, we'll see, right?
I give Metaphor.
Oh, good.
It
Best.
has quite a lot of cute music, actually.
Oh, does it? Oh no, I
Yeah,
still need to give
yeah,
it a try.
actually,
But
then.
yeah,
But Metaphor, if you know that actually Metaphor is from the same team that actually made Personas.
yes, yes, I am.
They just pretty much decided to making their own game because they were sick and tired to making the same per time.
Right.
And no joking, they made a very courageous move, if I may, because
No, I'd have to agree with
it's
that.
not it's not it's not something that actually a lot of teams would do, especially considering how much widely appreciated was Persona, because the other one it would be Shin Megami Tensei. Shin Megami Tensei is less played because you can feel is one of that game that actually it feel heavy in the heart to play
Mm-hmm.
because it has that type of tones, very dark, very heavy, and you feel it, the heaviness when actually you play it. When you actually play the persona, kind of like don't feel that because pretty much the art design of those games are very much similar, but is is lighter than the other one.
Oh yeah.
But in any case, metaphor, Re Fantasio is a choose.
Oh yes. I agree. Now, next category, best art direction for outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation.
Mm-hmm.
Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree, Metaphor Fantasio, and Neva. Who did you pick?
Neva,
Neva.
Neva,
Oh, same here.
Neva.
I actually like Neva's
Hands
art design.
hands down Neva.
I
With
agree.
sorry for Wukong, sorry for Elden Ring. Actually, for Elden Ring, not that sorry. For Metaphor, absolutely sorry. For Astrobot, absolutely yes. But for
No,
Neva, I think the art direction is much very inspiring compared to the.
yeah, and I feel like Neva has the best look out of all of them, and their inspiration, the getting their
Mhm.
inspiration from Studio Ghibli is a plus for me. I enjoy Studio
Absolutely
Ghibli
yes.
games, not games, but like their movies and their games too. I enjoyed it all, enjoyed watching them all, and I feel like Neva did a good job at almost somewhat replicating it, but being inspired by it as well. I think that's a
Hmm.
great thing. All right,
Absolutely yes.
we got a few more left, so let's go to best narrative.
We have the hottest topics, the narrative one.
For outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Metaphor ReFantasio, Senwa Saga, Hellblade 2, and Silent Hill 2.
Metaphor.
Oh, you gave it to Metaphor?
Metaphor. Absolutely yes. Metaphor.
I gave it to Hellblade 2. I think it would do decent. They do have a good narrative, I will say.
Hmm.
Metaphor,
It
I
does.
would like to see Metaphor winning it as well. Uh, but I'm pretty sure they'll go between 7 and 2, Silent Hill 2 for that. So
Hmm.
yeah. Best game direction, awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor, Refantasio. Go.
Who do you think I might have voted?
Metaphor?
Wrong one.
Really?
Wukong.
Oh, you went with
I
fire.
gave the vote. I gave the vote to Wukong
Go ahead, explain yourself.
because in all of that, I have to say the detail they gave, especially for the ambient, the atmosphere, they actually gave the cure they put in this game one in Wukong. It's something that actually it's something nice to see. You see that actually they put a lot of attention, a lot of cure. You see actually is something that they put very much innovation, create and giving legit that vision and make you feel like um, emotioning you really so deep into the heart. For the others, Astrobot for me is is good. It also on its own have an outstanding vision in general. Balatron, Balatron not that much. I don't need. I'll be honest, I don't even know why Balatro is game direction. Because I might understand maybe why, but I don't think actually is a proper reason for this. For Elden Ring, eh, not much, because it's not like a game on its own. It's a game that actually continue for what actually Elden Ring is, but is not innovating. It's followed the same line as Elden Ring. As much as might be outstanding, I don't see it innovating. It doesn't give much new if it's something actually follow the path of the base. For Final Fantasy Rebirth, maybe it might be outstanding, but yeah, it's still not innovative because those are places, atmospheres that actually already existed. So you just because you get, here's the thing, and this is the problem. Most of the time I have remake remaster. It's not because you actually give better quality, better graphic, but leaving the other thing pretty much untouched or barely changed that actually make that game innovative. Because you're not working on a game from scratches. You're not starting to create a Final Fantasy from zero. Be like, we don't have anything. We don't have any base to working. We have to start from the very core. No. For me, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, as much as great as it could be, it's something that is already been done. It's something that have a start as a development and as a finish. Just because you adding a couple of things for justifying the price or for making it a little bit different, working on the what if, because at the end of the day, the Final Fantasy Rebirth works a lot around the what if, but it's not like the what if change or justify the everything. It's just the same. The base of the core of that game is still the same. Exists Midgard? Yes. Exists Nibelheim? Yes. There are the macro reactors, there are the materia, there are the Sephiroth. Sephiroth is there, is always the sexy sexy albino beige ever existed. Yes.
Oh my god.
There is there are also the all the people with the black cloud, the black cloak.
Mm.
There is the crater. There are the ultimate weapons. They did invented it now. No, they're all things that already existed. They're all already there. So how actually is innovating something that is already been created years ago when you actually added only a couple of what ifs, but at the end of the day, the story of that game is the same. So this is my biggest problem, especially for the remake and remaster. The remake mostly. The remaster is already know that it's just improving graphics that's there. So, and for metaphor, I would also think for that is outstanding creating vision, not much innovative, because unfortunately, and I'll be honest on that, Metaphor Refantasio paid the price that actually look far too closer to a persona.
Mm-hmm.
But that's I justify it because it's the type of imprinting the studio have. It's not easy for a studio when have a certain way to working or a certain way to create a game. It's not that easy to changing it like from day and night. They need time for eventually evolving in something completely different from something that they have been working since not too far not too far ago with the type of games like Persona.
Mm-hmm.
As much as our metaphor is innovative, but you can still feel a lot the imprinting of the past works they made with the Persona. And in all of that, I gave my vote to Wukong because, as much as it could be criticized with the fact that eventually there are no girl characters and such, the work done for that one, for me, it just completely justified more than the others. You know what I mean?
No, I hear you, and that's a very good way of putting it, actually. No, that's not a bad way to put it. And I do hope that they win that category too. Now that you explained it so well. Well, good job
and
on that.
now we, and now we, and now we have the biggest and most hard to choose. Well, I mean, for me, not that hard to choose.
No, it's not hard for me either.
For the game of the year.
Recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. And the nominees are Astrobot, Bellatro,
Ah,
Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor Refantasio.
same as before, pretty much. The
Yeah,
games.
pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I gave my vote to Metaphor.
Me too.
I
For
do
one
hope it
reason.
wins Game of the Year.
Me too.
Geoff
And
can
for
kiss
actually
my
for two
ass
reasons. I did it for two reasons actually for metaphor.
and
For
what's
this
that?
one I choose for the in this one I've been challenged between this and Wukong. But in this case, Wukong has been a little bit down on the line compared to Metaphor,
Mm-hmm.
mostly because of the technical issues. Because it's been quite evident there are, and it would be a little bit hypocrite to not say that there are a little bit of technical issues, bugs, etc. And for the people that actually don't want to see them, I would see to open their eyes actually a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
For metaphor instead, the experience, but also how actually make you feel immersed into make you go deep into the game, the lore, the story, and all the other things. I think for that, the developers made an impressive work. Absolutely the best work they could actually have done, especially considering they've done this on their own. And for the second reason, because I want to see a fucking RPG game win the game of the year instead of the others.
No, Actually, those are my same reasons as well. Also, because I know Geoff Keighley, the guy that's in charge of the Game Awards, he has this massive dislike for JRPGs, especially ones that looks like Metaphor. And honestly, he can kiss my ass. So I gave it that
Both,
vote just to
both
make him piss him off.
can kiss both our ass. And
Yeah,
I'm
seriously.
sorry, he's not enough for kissing mine. Mwah, mwah.
And that, everyone, is our predictions and selections of the Game Awards 2024. Yep.
Let's not forget something, the player's voice.
Well, the
We're on the
player's voice
round
hasn't
two, you
finished
know.
yet. No, that won't finish until like
Well, but
tomorrow, so.
I mean, yes, but we have like still five choice to make.
True. I mean, but I don't know if they'll even make it. That's the thing. But as far as player's choice, I do hope that Metaphor gets it as well. I could see Power World and Stellar Blade get it, but I do want Metaphor to get it. So again, kiss my ass, the Keighley. And what about you, Sammy?
And mine instead has been like uh, metaphor, of course. Wukong, absolutely. Helldivers 2 I gave. Stellar Blade. And for the love and joy of Game Freak and Nintendo, Pal World.
Palworld. That would be a slap to the face to them.
That listen, if actually Pal World would win, you know they actually they can stick their own shoe.
Yeah, I agree. And let's see, DLC asked, any other video games would you swap Elden Ring DLC for the Game of the Year list? If I had to swap it, I would give it to, let's see,
For
honestly,
what category actually?
Game of the Year.
Ah, for the Game of the Year.
Yes.
Eh, eh. This actually opened another. This actually opened another huge problem
Really?
because yes, because as much as I think I actually told you about when I actually a few weeks ago probably
Mm-hmm.
I was telling you that I've been watching very extensively all the games that has been released since after the last year Game of the Year and this one, and I felt and removing all the failures, removing all the failures that has been going on with and happened during this year. But at the end of the day, I saw an extremely high and, in my opinion, preoccupying numbers of remake and remastered
Mm-hmm.
compared to new IP games. It's dramatic about how many especially remastered, has been done. Like, what the hell happened to the imagination of those creators?
I'd say it fell to the wayside, honestly, or they just listened to too much to the whatchamacallit.
Audience?
No, the corporations.
Ah, the corporation.
Yeah, they, because money talks. That's how it is. Money talks. Money makes the money.
Yeah,
I mean, if you ask
this is
me,
all.
if I
This
had
is
to
also
replace
true.
the DLC, I would give it to Power World. Honestly.
I would have. Yeah, you have a good point. I actually would have gave Palworld, or probably at this point. You know what? I would be a little bit controversial on that
Oh.
because I would have gave instead of Elden Ring at this point, I would have gave Silent Hill 2.
Oh goodness.
I
That would
mean, in all honesty, in all honesty, it's not even that wrong. As much as I believe Silent Hill 2 remake, as much as it is a well done remake, is still not an innovating game. As much as it would say it gave a great experience, but it would give it to people that actually never played the original. But there are legit a couple of spots where it actually is frustrating and uselessly extended. Closing their eyes for that is not that wise.
hmm
But if I have to choose for a proper game of the year instead of the Elden Ring because of the DLC, I would have gave to Silent Hill 2. I would have give to Palworld,
Yep.
for example,
And hell, I would have even given it to
or
controversially,
like
I
a
would give it
dragon.
to even Dragon Age Vilgard.
No, please, no, don't say that. Don't say that.
Well, that's a
I don't.
controversial.
I
That's
don't
my
want.
controversial choice, at least. So either that
Your
or give it to Once Human. Honestly, I would give it to them. Those are my three selections, at least, to replace the DLC. You already gave your three, obviously.
why don't Mario and Luigi Brothers?
I mean, Brothership is good, but that's more of an RPG. I mean, is it big enough to get Game of the Year? Maybe, but
But it
I don't
wouldn't
think
have been.
it's. I
Wouldn't
don't
have
think it's
went so far.
yeah, not so far yet. I mean, I feel like that belongs to like a single Mario adventure, maybe. Not like its
Hmm.
spin off, you know? If
Yeah,
that
yeah.
makes sense.
No, I get. No. It makes absolutely sense. But this is still also part of the problem because anyway, if you think about the all the games that have been released, not many are actually potential to be game of the year,
Right.
which is a little bit weird considering that it it's a strange year for the gaming industry, if I may say.
No, no, you're valid on that. It has been a strange year, and it's just
Yeah,
eh,
I mean, it's been bombarded with pretty much big name companies also to miserably failing or closing for pretty much like it's strange. Like yeah, it's weird.
mm-hmm.
I think is necessary. It's not only necessary a little bit of thought about that, but I think it's necessary a big um, discussion and also thought meditation also about what actually the companies are doing wrong and if actually what they believe is best for for the gaming direction and such
Mm-hmm.
is really the best or if actually their own thought of what is best and what is not is completely it's completely lost to shit because it's completely no recognition with the fan base or what actually the average gamers want. It's something like I said multiple times to you. Then we have a gaming industry that is it feels and it is. It's not just it feels. It is completely detached by reality and completely detached by how actually their own fan base and with the market itself. And sometimes there are also taking with take it with a piece of salt. Responsibility also for people that actually give support to those titles because they get pressures, not directly, because I would speak about corruption, but do I have evidence of corruptions? No, but it's kind of an evidence. Let's make an example. If I, for example, you Ray make a video game,
Mm-hmm.
and I invite you to eating a pizza in a great restaurant, 5 star, with all the comfy seats and whatsoever, and we have the most memorable evening and dinner of your entire life. And I am supposed to review your game. How you think what actually had that dinner might affect positively or negatively my review, because maybe probably people shouldn't be that involved.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't. Here's the thing: I don't deny people to having a dinner or eventually close relationships with game developers or with the staff and big brands, etc., etc. But it's a little bit undeniable that if I have like, if I take you in sympathy, even if you don't tell me, Sammy, please try to get soft, a little soft, not too hard on my game. Even if you don't tell me, in a human perception, how much sure I personally, or even the people that read my reviews, my articles,
Mm-hmm.
would say that actually this type of uh, not relationship but interaction affect positively or negatively my review. They cannot. Just like I cannot prove it, they cannot. And what, and in this type of situation, we're actually coming in a little bit of conflict of interest. You might want to think what I'm actually am supposed to do for avoiding that actually people have that feelings of me doing a review that is not affected by a conflict of interest. Maybe one of those would be like avoiding to having that type of close interaction, would be also, strangely enough to say, also to getting um, a free key of the game, because even if you're even if you don't say anything but you make a negative review because that game has legit problems, you, the next time you make a game, you might not want to give me another key. So of course, for maybe someone that make their life their living to make reviews and they also play on live that, that video game because you get the free key from that company, you have all the interest for not be 100% honest, even if it is not said, because there's always there always a possibility within the entire situation that you might not get another key because of that. Because you maybe has been honest, far too honest, and that's been like, we don't like it because we like more if you would have been like, yeah, give us at least 8 out of 10, but don't go below that because we want any way that this game can be solved, can be saved. So it's a multiple part. It's a multiple part, and in my opinion, I always say, in my honest opinion, and I've been doing review for games since 2002
Mm-hmm.
in different times because I always been working on my own for doing where I live. And I want to say something very specific. If you, as a video game critic or a review, the people that actually read your articles, your review, don't believe in what you write, what actually the purpose of the job you're doing. If my reader wouldn't anymore believing what I write, my work would be completely useless.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing with the journalist, and it's the same thought. It's the same thing for the notice, the news, um, blogs, etc., etc. You have the readers that don't believe anything of what you read for what you are the journalist. For that is a discussion that won't take hours. I don't want your life to be extended for other 2 hours for that. But I think in that case that might it might be necessary. I understand the fact that the developers try to get a little bit more closer with the content creators and such for be very like having a good partnership where everyone is happy, everyone have what they want, everyone have their own earnings. The question is how actually can be this accepted and how actually people can believe the things that is said but those peoples are reality, or if there are things said because forced directly or indirectly to say only the good about the game that they release.
That's a very good point to put, honestly. Good questions, too. It almost makes you want to play that song, What Was I Made For? I'm just kidding.
Hmm.
Oh my god. But yeah, those are good points. Those are good points to make, really, because it's like, is there a purpose to how you review, what you review, and all that stuff? And it's like you get these keys and whatnot. Are you
Hmm.
satisfied with what you brought? Are you satisfied with what you're doing? And it's like, is this your truth? Basically, is in the end of the day, is this your truth? If it's your truth, kudos. If not, maybe I need time to like reiterate yourself and the job that you're doing, pretty much.
Hmm. Yeah,
Cause
absolutely.
oh yeah, cause it's like there's the real purpose is basically just to guide people to see this and that game, see how good it is, and then take your own interpretation of it. Good ratings,
Hmm.
bad ratings, it doesn't matter really.
Yeah,
Just bring your own interpretation to it and form your own opinion instead of listening to what IGN has to say about it, or what Metacritic has to say, or what Kotaku has to say.
yeah. But in all of that, funny enough, we also have a big responsibility for the people that actually read us or listen us.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people actually, because I understand them, most actually prefer not reading pages and pages about what a game is, the pro, the cons. They want to see directly the vote and pretty much knowing it from their favorites.
Especially ones that are not paid for.
Yeah, especially for that. But
Yes.
even because of that, we have a responsibility for saying the truth and be absolutely honest and objective for doing the review. Because the moment you actually do, let's face it, when you actually um, you make a review, like in the example for Dragon Age Valgard, then you give 10 out of 10, and pretty much you've been like selected between lots of content creators and you've been chosen, and you give 10 out of 10, no matter, and you eventually say, hey, but this game has this problem. Why you give 10?
Mm-hmm.
If a game have a crit, have bugs, or eventually has a clanky storytelling whatsoever, make count that negative things, because the moment you say this game has all these things that are not going good, but I do anyway give 10, you're not honest with yourself, on purpose or because you want to give the benefits of the doubt. But even then, you want to give the benefit of the doubt, you're doing a really bad job in a journalist matter of speak.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment you actually give it that, you're not anymore giving a review because it's not objective. You're just being an ADV. That is advertisement. Is not doing a review, because if you make a review, you have to be intellectually integral. There
Mm-hmm.
is not much to say, because the integrity, especially in journalists, is a core thing. It's something it's something that you cannot buy with money or whatever, because it's already happened, that thing with the normal journalist, especially for politics.
Yep.
Wherever you go, you have this problem. But this is not being journalist. The real journalist, or like for one said, I'm doing this because it makes it makes good for me to be in contact with powerful people, and they consider themselves journalists. They're not journalists. Let's say those things to actually the people, the journalists that actually go in the war areas, when I actually make the report for what actually happened, the military situation inside a country that has plagued with a war.
Right.
So really, they should make themselves a really big question, and starting to be a little bit more ethical, and integrity as the first thing. Both the company, but also at the same time, there should be also the courage from the content creators to stepping up and being a little bit more like, no, I'm not going to accept your money for buying my silence or buying my vote. Or if they actually want to accepting this, don't give the vote. You might want to suggest, but don't give both.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they take money and give a vote, they make a damage. They make a damage to themselves because they're not credible anymore. What would be the credibility of you, Ray, if actually would have given a 10 out of 10 for a game because they gave you the free key and also maybe $300?
I feel like I'd sold myself out, honestly.
Yeah, how people would believe in whatever you say. So you pretty much lose credibility. So it's a huge damage and actually coming your way because you didn't say no, because you didn't have the courage to standing ground and for your principle and actually for what is supposed to be better for yourself in the first place. Because fun enough, the moment you actually, here's the funny thing: when you actually start to look like the people don't believe in you anymore, and the moment you actually your credibility is equal to zero, not even those company calls you anymore because you pretty much done expired your usefulness, and it'll be like people don't even believe in you, so you're not useful for us anymore. On the contrary, if actually you're intellectual integral
Hmm.
and they actually try to bribing you on that and you say no, you will be even more tempting because the moment you actually say for a game, and actually that game is a really fucking good game, without taking anything, that's gold. That's gold for the gaming company. Also, for a little bit of things, this would actually make it think to if they wouldn't be, you remember before they get the companies would have given the that all the CD-ROM with all the demos.
I remember those. Yeah, from the magazines. Sometimes
Yeah,
PC Gamer used to
that
do
would have been.
that.
Yeah, that would. Why do actually don't give that type of things to the content creator? You give that, and then when actually there is the official release, everyone play that game, and they would give an honest review without receiving anything free. And then people will say, but if that's the case, the companies wouldn't even need of that anyway, because if they give if they don't do this, they don't sell at day one. The pre-order wouldn't make any more sense, which I always suggest people to everyone to never buy a game day one or pre-order, because the moment you actually get screwed up because that game is really badly polished with bugs, etc., you're fucked.
Yep, that's
But
been
the
the
yeah,
case usually.
yeah, but they will never do it because they based the selling for maybe the first week, the 2 weeks. If actually you start to taking a game 2 weeks after, 3 weeks after, or even 1 month after, it will looks like a failure because on those weeks the system make you think that you failed because nobody bought your game.
Hmm.
But you know what? Probably might be also a good thing because and you know what? Because if actually the companies would take the proper game, the proper time for releasing a game, and when they actually release the game is without a single bug, and you stop to using the people to be like the beta tester working for free for you,
Hmm.
maybe, and just maybe, the companies wouldn't make all that many fuck shits
Yeah, that'd
because
be
they would
great.
work more for a title.
Exactly. If they don't rush it, they take their time with it. Of course, that's only gonna happen if they're not like publicly traded companies either, because they always gotta give them deadlines and all that stuff, or their owners gotta
Mm-hmm.
give them
Yeah,
deadlines and all that stuff. So it's like they just gotta give these, especially the ones that keep acquiring companies, give these people their time. Give them the time, give them their time, give them their space. Just let them do their magic, and you'll get something successful at least.
yeah, absolutely. And in that would everyone actually would have something positive, even them.
Hmm. And I guess that should be it as far as our topicals is concerned.
Yeah, I
Damn, we
mean,
got
we've
enough.
been talking for 3 hours and 23 now.
Oh yeah, it's been a good first episode, and we will. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna do
absolutely.
this again next week, same time likely, or earlier.
Yeah,
Depends
well,
really.
it depends. It could be earlier, it could be later. I
Oh
don't know.
yeah,
Eventually, I'm sure we will get know on time also, and the time, the day. So that's let's tune in.
yeah. And next week we're going to do obviously, this is gonna be next week's episode. We're going to do our reactions of what actually won the TGAs, and get into even more gaming industry stuff. So hopefully y'all tune in next Sunday.
Absolutely.
Yes. And as far as follows is concerned, I'm just checking right now. Thanks again to Slade All Day 6669, Koi Frostax, Nene Embers, Foxy Bethan, and Diosli for the follows. Much appreciated. And thank you, Sam, for doing this podcast with me. We're definitely going to
But
be doing
thank you.
more of this.
But thank you to you for having me here. It's been an incredible pleasure, and I've been excited for it since even now. I have the goosebumps.
Oh, yeah. We both have, but I think we did a pretty much a good job at it. So we are
Yeah,
we are
I
good.
absolutely think the same. We're a great team.
Yep. And right now I'm gonna read out to the Granny I Just Love Puzzles. She'll be doing a Christmas puzzle on her stream. So I hope y'all enjoy her, and y'all have a good night. And see you next Sunday.
Good night, everyone, and take care.
Bye.
Bye.